Go ahead, take a seat. Join us for Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer, where the conversations are real, the stories run deep, and absolutely nothing is off limits. From small town life and big time headlines to sports, politics, faith, family, and the everyday chaos of modern living, we talk about it all. No polished corporate nonsense, no fake outrage for clicks, just honest conversation served up with a little humor, a little wisdom, and the kind of storytelling that feels like late evenings from the back porch. Sometimes thoughtful, sometimes hilarious, sometimes completely off the rails, but always real. Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer is brought to you in part by Glenn Mechanical, when you want the job done right the very first time. Jason Hardy State Farm. Like a good neighbor, Jason Hardy and State Farm are there. Country Village Sporting Goods. Everything you need to get to the woods, the water, or the camp. Cook's Body Shop. Bad things are going to happen, and when they do, look to Cook's. Davis Farms Country Market with true farm-to-table fresh selections. Cross Roofing and Sheet Metal. Put a solid future above your head. Harrison's Financial Management. Your future, our commitment. Murphy Arts District. For the latest info, go to eldomad.com. Larry's Pizza. Home of the Double Pizza Parade. The Rushing Law Firm. Get someone in your corner who fights for you. The Michael Fife Campaign for Sheriff of Union County. Mystic Creek Golf Club voted the #1 course in Arkansas. Smackover Motors. 50 years of keys, road trips, and memories at Smackover Motors. Timberlane Meat Market. Eat local, eat often. Southern Sass Image and Design. The official photographers for South Arkansas Now at southarkansasnow.com. And by ProMed Ambulance. World-class care and hometown values. Recorded live at the southarkansasnow.com studios in beautiful, historic downtown El Dorado, Arkansas. Kick your shoes off, grab a seat, and welcome to the Big Couch. Your host, Troy Boomer Barrios and B.A. Sandy Sanford.
Thank you, Johnny Dean, and welcome back to another edition of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer and sometimes Jax, but more importantly, Boomer.
Yeah.
Than being off the back porch.
Uh-huh. We're on the
big couch.
Big couch.
Yeah. So that's where we start off anyway. Now.
No, hey, I'm staying on the couch. I don't know where you're going.
Road we end up on.
Yeah. We'll get off some rabbit chasing for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And welcoming our special guests, two men who give absolutely zero cares about their reputation.
That's what I was saying.
and from El Dorado Water Company, and that is Shane Gibbons and this guy, Robert Edmonds, who is the Public Works Director for the City of El Dorado. And we're going to talk to them a little bit about some stuff that's going on. But Boomer, I thought we would start off with, what should we be offended by today?
You got a list? Because I got a list. Yeah. Because I've been offended by several things already today.
Yeah.
You know, the older you get, the more not offensive, the more offended you get.
You can't offend me.
You
Unless
can't.
you mess with my kids or my wife, no.
All right, well.
I can't be offended.
I need to quit watching the news.
Well, maybe that's what it is.
That is.
I swore it off.
You did years ago.
4 years ago. 6 years ago now.
So you're reporting on local events, but not national news. We don't care.
I don't even watch the weather.
You ought to. We had a storm last night, brother. I slept through it. Did you sleep through it?
No.
You were up?
I was up.
Okay.
Yeah. My phone kept alert.
Okay.
So, but that's because I don't have a jitterbug phone like you do. What is it that one wrote into us a while back? Said, look, y'all both need to admit that y'all still carry a flip phone on your belt. Look, I'm not that far removed.
You know, if I would have still had a landline, I'd have got that phone that reads it out what they're saying. You seen those advertised? I'm going, oh my! I played first base today, Grandma. Oh my God.
Robert, you got to pull that microphone over closer to your mouth.
We ain't said anything yet.
Well, it's because the microphone ain't been there. He said a bunch of stuff. Y'all just didn't hear it because the microphone wasn't close enough.
I hadn't had anything to say up until now. Everything's been just fine.
It was offensive, all the stuff he was saying. So what should we be offended by today? It's very simple. The New York Times thinks we should be offended that Europeans are skipping President Obama's presidential library in return so they can go to places like Waffle House, Bass Pro Shop, and Buc-ee's. So New York Times is wringing their hands, lamenting how the estimates of how many Europeans would come pay homage to the world's greatest leader were so woefully wrong. One presidential library employee said, in a meeting last week, we were told that if there was a wait line to enter to give European visitors preferential entrance, for whatever reason, we've had neither wait times or Europeans. So the New York Times goes out and they ask some EU tourists at a Buc-ee's why they were there and not at the presidential library.
Yeah.
This one British tourist says his wife and her friends went yesterday and were shocked at how anti-American the library seemed to be. He said, but we went to Bass Pro Shop earlier and now we're at Buc-ee's and I've never wanted to be an American more because of how proud these people here are to be Americans. So we should be offended that the Europeans who are coming over are not going to the presidential library.
Well, okay. Let's be offended then.
By the way, I haven't heard, I'm listening, I'm still waiting for the calls of, what? That money could have been used for something else.
Yes.
Because you know, it's what they said for George W. Bush's
we'll get fed the hungry.
Yeah. $853 million.
Yeah, and there's
to build a library.
The plumbing contractor is a small, well, he's not small, but that was a big contract for him, and he's owed like about $200 million, and so far they hadn't paid him. Yeah, and they all had to sign.
And you want to know why Joe the plumber voted for?
Yeah, no kidding. And they all had to sign NDAs.
Well, yeah, I can see that. I mean, honestly, I could see that.
Yeah. Why? I mean, if they're going to let everybody in.
Yeah, they don't let you in everywhere.
Oh, they don't.
Go up to that trailer house called the Clinton Library.
Yeah, I've driven under it.
I've went. It's nice. That's awesome.
Is it really? But it looks like,
I mean, it looks like a trailer on steel.
Well, that's because it's right next to the river. That river gets up. They don't. Hey, you ever been to Galveston? They build everything up on stilts because the water comes up.
Yeah, but that's Galveston. It's not the Arkansas River.
Well, it might get high.
Let me tell you this: if that river gets high enough
to get to
that, we're all in trouble.
Well, that's why they built it up there, so it wouldn't get. Come on, Robert, isn't that true?
I'm just here to talk a little sewage.
Well, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, there's plenty of sewage being talked about right now.
That's what we're doing is talking sewage. That's the funniest line yet. Yeah. And he wasn't even trying to be funny.
That's,
that's
I told you. All my favorite stories start with the words, one day
Robert Edmonds said.
Robert Edmonds and I that's how all my favorite stories start. Now that we're sitting here, I think we do need to clear something up.
What?
Robert, I think it's time that thou give account of thyself from what you and Milam tried to do to me and Mangum during the share tournament at hole number 9.
I remember what y'all did, yeah.
You don't remember what we did.
I saw it.
Yeah, we know you saw it.
I saw the whole thing.
We saw your partner, number 9 at the country club, share tournament. They're like 110 yards out. And for whatever reason, Mr. Milam pulls out a 3-wood and he nuts it. I mean, just flush. And sends it flying over the green. And under, there's I don't know what you call it, patio or whatever. And it's built over. And that ball goes in there, goes to bouncing around. And there was
who hit it?
Rodney Milam.
Rodney?
And it bounces around in there, and there was a woman in there breastfeeding. Tell them when I start lying. She comes running out.
So far, all of it has been because of what I remember he did it. In all fairness, though, Rodney hadn't hit a straight ball all day.
He wasn't planning on hitting it straight.
It wasn't like I was going to say, Rodney, that's too much club.
It was 110 3-wood.
Yeah, and I mean it's
he nutted it
in there, and this woman comes running out with a baby holding it like a football. And a boob hanging out.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Probably still bouncing around in there.
What, the ball? Or
the ball? Yeah.
Everybody looks down there on hole number 9 towards us in the fairway. And Edmonds just like that turns around and points at us.
Are y'all behind them?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I thought
they're the
y'all
ones
were on
that
the
hit that ball. I'm
we were
pretty
waiting
sure.
on them the entire
tournament. Okay, I got you.
But I love that when that tournament was over, Robert proudly stood up and said, "Hey, y'all. we won because nobody scored as high as we did.
Yeah,
We outscored everybody.
that's like the guy
in
that
all flights, not just ours.
That's like the guy that thinks tennis means hit the ball over the fence. Yeah.
All right. So things that we've learned from watching the World Cup.
Okay.
Evidently, military flyovers scared the bejesus out of foreign.
Well, it should.
Yeah, the Germans are like, no, nine. Last time we saw this, it didn't end up well for us. They're amazed by yellow school buses.
Huh.
And there was one British guy, he's like, so you have these yellow buses come get your children every day and take them all the way to the school?
What do they have? Nothing?
I don't know. That's the question. I mean, how do British people get their kids to school?
Huh.
You were born over there. Tell me.
Long live the king. we came back before
you started
school transportation was an issue, so couldn't take it.
Yeah, he and my Munchkin, they both
Obviously, it's not on a yellow school bus.
Yeah, he and the Munchkin both have that in common. They're both foreigners.
Where's Munchkin born?
Japan.
Oh, that's
Remember,
right.
because
Yeah.
she told. So Munchkin tells Peyton tells her teacher in kindergarten, Jenny Buss, retimer, and she tells her, I go pick her up, and she's like, "Daddy, will you please come tell her I was born in Japan?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so I said, "Yeah, Jenny, she was born in Japan." She said, "Baby, I'm so sorry. Parents will say things to their kids like we found you on the side of the road.
Yeah, cabbage patch.
I thought y'all just told her, you were born in Japan.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, she really was born in Japan. And Peyton says, see, I'm Japanese. No, baby. No,
No, you're not Japanese.
No. You were born in Japan. But now she didn't speak English for the first 2 years she was talking. She did speak Japanese because she went to a Japanese daycare.
I was about to say, maybe you thought just because she's born in Japan, she'd speak Japanese.
The sheer amount of air conditioning
That we have.
that floors them. You know? And then parking lots that are actually attached to the place you're going.
Huh.
They're not used to that. And then this guy, he was so funny. He's got his cell phone out, he's doing a selfie video, and he's like, do you know why I am sitting at Wendy's in the drive-thru, which by the way has more options than my local grocery? He said, and they're going to bring the food to me right here in my car. And he doesn't understand. They ask you to pull up from that front window. That's not what you want. You don't want that. But he loved it. He was eating it up. By the way, Boomer, some celebrities are getting more normal than they once were.
Okay.
Celebrities who were considered woke or even maybe just alert, are now starting to sound normal. For instance, I remember saying a while back, when did Bill Maher and I end up on the same side of the table?
Yeah, what he's flipped.
No, I don't think he has.
Well, he hasn't flipped, but he's holding everyone's feet to the
holding
fire.
everyone's feet to the fire, yeah. But we've always had Clint Eastwood,
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger, Stallone,
Mhm.
Tom Selleck.
John by God Wayne.
John Wayne died when I was 5. So
Okay, that doesn't mean he
I
didn't
don't-
live and he
I
wasn't a
don't remember
patriot.
a lot about John Wayne, what I'm saying.
That's what I'm telling you.
Oh, okay.
Texas across the river.
Trying to make me better.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
But now Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, Nikki's, and not only conservative, she likes the president.
She does.
Yeah.
Now, she said...
Any presidential party at the White House would be better with Nicki Minaj there.
Of course it would. But she said she doesn't agree with some of his immigration policies, but that overall, she thinks he's doing a fantastic job.
Well, as long as she doesn't sing any of her songs.
But but here's the latest.
What?
Jillian Michaels.
Yes.
The hot trainer from Biggest Loser?
Yes.
Jillian Michaels.
Yes.
She took The View to task.
She did. I saw that.
Because of the way they treated J.D. Vance.
Mm-hmm.
And she's, they were talking about immigration, and she said, so, they get him on there, and they're like, well, shouldn't you as a Christian? She said, there's your first thing. She said, I don't like when people start throwing people's faith in their face.
Mm-hmm.
And said, shouldn't we just welcome everybody? She said, that's what we tried to do. She said, that's what we did up until like maybe 6-8 years ago. We did welcome everybody. She said, you came in the right way. She said, you had to love America, learn the language, and contribute something. she said, now we're just saying, come and take all our free stuff.
Yeah.
And boy, I'm like, Jillian Michaels?
Yeah.
So,
She's been on some shows on Fox, even. I saw her.
yeah.
Because, old people, that's all we watch is Fox. That's what my kids tell me.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Robert wouldn't know anything about
About the what?
about being old.
No, he's not old.
No.
I'll tell you, Edmonds has this fantastic, almost magical ability. One day I was over at his house for a fish fry, and
I must have missed that one.
buffalo ribs,
Was you there?
catfish,
Okay, I wasn't there.
gator.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of good stuff. And I was like, man, that was really good. And he's like, well, thank you. I worked really hard on it. I never saw him lift a finger. I never saw him cook a thing. But
Who did it?
Well, I mean, I saw his nephew over there.
Yeah.
I saw the Barker kid over there.
It's the same thing.
Oh, it was
It's the same thing.
vicariously.
I mean, every operation has to have somebody in management.
Yeah.
Fish fry is no different.
So Will was doing the cooking, but Robert took all the compliments for how good it was. He was able to pull something off.
I had something to do with it, I'm sure.
He probably paid for it.
I'm all but certain.
I'm all but certain.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back with more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
Experience, courage, common sense. All of these are traits we want in any elected position, but especially in the man we will pick as our next sheriff. Michael Fife hasn't just been in law enforcement for 30 plus years. He's the one who answers the call in the middle of the night, putting himself last and Union County first, looking folks in the eye, doing what's right, standing up for all of us. Vote for Michael Fife for Union County Sheriff.
For longer than most of us can remember, Timber Lane Meat Market has been a staple of our community, where quality meats and friendly faces come standard. From everyday dinners to weekend cookouts, make it fresh, make it local, make it Timber Lane. Be sure to check out the daily lunch specials and like us on Facebook. Timber Lane Meat Market, 1336 West Hillsboro in El Dorado. Proud to be part of South Arkansas and even more proud to be displayed on your table.
If you bought a ring in Arkansas, make some noise right now. You got What an amazing place they've built right here in your town.
Ready?
So, let's do this.
Oh, okay. I got you.
No.
Sorry.
Noodles! Híjole, that was intense.
Agreed.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer, sometimes Jack, and our special guests, Shane Gibbons, Robert Edmonds, and we'll talk to them in just a moment about sewage.
That's what he come to talk about.
Hey, that's what we came to talk
Yeah,
about.
he's always talking sewage.
It's
Well,
I do.
I would too if I were him, because I know for a fact, I heard the voicemail that a woman left him about the sewage backing up in her church.
Yep.
Not a good thing.
What was that?
Years ago when I did the character Miss Mercille, I called him one time and got his voicemail. I was like, baby, listen, I need y'all to come down here and fix this sewage. It's done backed up into the baptistry. And now it's overflowing, then got down in the communion wine. And we got a
The communion.
communion wine. Now everybody we baptized smell like shit. Now y'all got me saying, see, now you done make me say shit in the house of the Lord. Come down here and fix this at the Holy Shout and Praise Tabernacle, the Firstborn Flowing Advent Church of God in Christ. Get down here. 3-4 days go by.
No call.
I get a ring from him. He says, hey, did you call and leave me some crazy ass voicemail? I was like, yeah. He said, well, thanks. He said, I got out every phone book that Union County's printed since like 1964 trying to find a holy shout and praise tabernacle.
Couldn't find
It wasn't there. It wasn't there.
Going around asking me, you know where oh, yeah, I think that church is right down
Right
there.
down.
And he said, he goes down there and he said, ain't been nobody in that church since Jesus was a boy.
So over the weekend, true story, my hand up. I heard it this morning, dude in a porta kennel, porta potty, turned around, glasses fell off his head. What would you have done?
Those glasses are gone.
He reaches down for him.
No.
And what happened?
Snapping turtle.
Snapping turtle. He fell in.
He fell in.
Yeah, I mean, not a temporary one, a real one. You know, he fell in, and they had to call, I don't know, a crane company to come get him out and wash him off.
Large kid.
No, that didn't happen.
He was on the news.
Oh,
I read it on the internet.
Bonjour. Yeah. No, I'm telling you right now, that's not how the story transpired. I don't doubt that he ended up in there, but that's not how it happened. It's not because my glasses fell and I slipped and fell. Bull.
What was he wanting to do?
I have no idea what he was trying to do, but maybe he was going to be in there and scare the first person who came in.
There is no situation possible where I would get this.
Not of my own power. That's like Casey and I were watching something.
No, if they held a gun to me and said, you jump in there, I'm going to shoot you. I said, well, you're going to have to shoot
You're
me.
going to shoot me now.
I could survive a gunshot maybe.
So you think there was more than one person that put him there?
I don't know about that. No, I think this guy evidently did it, but he had to come up with a story afterwards.
And he was searching for his sunglasses.
You think he did that on purpose?
How do you slip and fall in there?
I don't know.
I don't know how you get in that hole.
Mm-mm. And they said, well, the hole could be big. Then he would have fallen in when he was sitting there.
How come every time I try to tell a story, you want to debunk it?
I'm not debunking. I'm telling you, I believe that happened. I just don't believe that man's event of his series of events of how it transpired.
It's just something else happened.
Something else transpired there.
He did wind up in the poop.
Yeah, there's a reason why the hole on the wind's only that big.
Right.
So
They
only
had
your
to stuff
booty
him in there. Somebody had to.
only your booty fits in there, not your whole body.
There's something else going on there. He running from somebody's husband or
Well,
something.
okay. Have you ever been swimming with an inner tube and you dive off the boat and you'll go through it, but you can still sit in it?
You think he dove in there?
I'm just saying. Can't he
Yeah,
make?
but how much of a running
doing
start
a double
does he have to
windy,
get?
isn't it? Huh?
I mean, look, here's what you can't do. You can't slip and fall through that inner tube. You got to get narrow.
That's what I'm saying. You got to get small.
So again, he didn't just slip and fall in. Like
He dove in after those glasses.
Casey and I were watching something on Discovery Network or something one day, stories from the ER or whatever. And the guy comes in and he has a piston rod from an engine
Up his blowhole.
In the sleeve.
And I
In the
told
sleeve.
I told Casey, I said, that didn't, I don't care what he says, that didn't accidentally happen.
No, he didn't happen to just be rebuilding an engine, just sat on
Slip.
one.
Oh my goodness, guess what happened? No. I said, look, do me this one favor. If stuff like that can accidentally happen, Casey, and it was so to happen to somebody like me, do not let them be there filming it at the ER while we're talking about it.
Yes. And the weirdest things I don't want to even talk about that show. I quit watching it. It's like Naked and Afraid. What's the point? Why do I want to take my clothes off out in the middle of nowhere with someone I don't know and then sit in some sand flea
If you had a
sand?
body like that guy, you would.
Well, I mean, but all of them don't.
No, they don't.
You can't blur out everything.
Yeah. No, listen. I got enough folding rolls there. It looked like a Texas Roadhouse. Hey, let's take a quiz real quick.
Oh gosh.
Right. I'm going to ask y'all some yes/no questions. I want you just every time you have a yes, I just want you to hold up another finger. Okay.
Not to take a finger down is just
we'll do a holding up. Okay. Do you or have you ever laughed when kids trip or fall?
Yeah. Come on, Edmonds. Now you're gonna lie.
I was gonna say I've been at his house when kids have tripped and fall. Yeah. Okay. Do you eat ice?
Yes.
Do you sleep with socks on?
No.
I don't do that. That's weird. Were you a quiet kid? I promise
No.
you I was not. Do you pour your milk before your cereal?
No. Why would you do that?
Right.
You don't know how much cereal to put in.
Do you feel absolutely nothing when you kill a spider?
Yes. No, I don't.
Can you cry on command?
No.
No.
Do you get annoyed at people who breathe too loud?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the president, he's always breathing into the mic, especially during the debates.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
Okay.
I got 4.
If you're holding up more than 2 fingers, according to the American Psychological Society, you are at risk of becoming a serial killer.
Oh, my Lord.
Look at Robert.
He turned into 2.
Yeah.
I turned that to 2.
That's what I meant. 2.
2 times 2.
Yeah. So, I started out with 6, and I kept putting a finger down.
And I got 2. You're on the brink of becoming a serial killer.
You are on the spectrum of becoming a serial killer.
I mean, I would think you'd probably be more apt to do that if you poured your milk first.
Yeah. Those are weird people.
Or put your socks on and go to bed.
Yeah. Well,
I can't sleep in socks.
Now I wear socks in the house.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My feet don't touch the floor.
Because
I got nasty kids.
Because it's frigid in my house. I mean, it's probably 65 degrees in there right now, or it's trying to be.
It's doing everything it can to get there.
It can't get there, but it's trying to be.
Well, that's called Fru's hot.
She is a hot woman,
and she got,
she said, she told me last week after I guess she watched some of the reels. She said, "So you decided to talk about going to rehab last week?" I said, "Well, what's the difference?" She goes, "Well, I just, She said, your whole thing was you moved here and nobody knew you'd gone to rehab when you was in Oklahoma." I said, "Man, I don't care."
Yeah, but you've been here 35 years.
I've been here 35 years and except for that one time, I haven't done anything. No times.
We don't talk about that one time.
No times.
We don't talk about that one time. Yeah.
In college.
Yeah. There was drinks.
Drinks. Everyone's experimenting.
Yeah, it was the 70s.
Yeah. So we did. Hey, we go to the Banker's Blood Drive. Okay, years ago at the SAC.
Yeah.
So one of us is already giving blood, and then the other one's right next to us. And so Sandy, I don't know, he looks over there and kind of gives me the eye, and he said, "Troy," he said, "When I ask you all them questions about have you ever,
even once,
he said, "What'd you put?" I said, "Well," I said, I was in college in the 70s. And I said, it was that whole age of discovery. And this girl was about to do my...
She was about to put it in his arm. He stops and
her thoughts got big and soft. She was fixing to put a nix on this blood.
Yeah.
No, we don't need any of this guy's
blood. Big yellow X on that one. Yeah. Don't give that to nobody.
Yeah, Matt has some AIDS or something. But we drug her down real quick. And then we finally had to admit that we were just kidding. That
like, Boomer, how you giving blood?
Yeah.
Did you answer all the questions?
Did you answer all the questions? I mean, after all them stories you told me. You can ask.
This guy's going to get a pilot's license, right? He's taking lessons, and he said he was at the house and he was out on his 4-wheeler. And
I ran out of gas on my 4-wheeler, like a mile down by my shop. And as I was walking back to get some gas, I thought, you know what? This is kind of an inconvenience, running out of gas on a 4-wheeler, to have to walk back and get some gas. But I could see that being a real problem if you ran out of gas in an airplane.
It is.
So,
because they don't just stop.
I gave up my dream. I saved my own life.
You're a hero.
I'm a hero.
Yeah. I'm my own hero.
That's right.
He told me, he said, I was just thinking, I do this a lot. He said, I just don't know that. What if I forget to put gas in that plane before I take off?
Yeah.
He said, because I'll jump on a 40 because I got somewhere I got to be. I got to go do this.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
And he said, I'll get in a plane and be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Get gas.
Yeah.
Railroad.
So Mike Nash and Matt and I are hunting duck season. And Matt says, this is several years ago, so he's a younger guy. He says, I believe I can captain this whole thing. He said, I can get us to the hole and drive us to the hole and do just about as you can, Mike, drive, running the boat in night. He says, okay. He said, you're the captain tomorrow. So we load up we go and put the boat in, and sure enough, Matt gets us all the way out there to the hole where we're going. And Nash goes, Matt, did you check the gas in the boat last night? He goes, no, sir, sure did. He said, well, you're the captain. He said, the captain's supposed to know if we got enough fuel. And he reaches back there, and sure enough, it's like we came in on fumes going to the hole. He says, so what we gonna do now, Captain? He says, I guess we're gonna have to call an audible or something. So Nash done had it figured out. He knew there was no gas in there, and he thought we wasn't even gonna make it to the hole. So Tommy Foster, who was out hunting too, he had done told Tommy to put some gas in his boat because we was going to run out. So he called Tommy, and Tommy comes zooming up on his boat with a gas can. And but Matt had to, he had lost face because he ran out of gas too.
Yeah, that happens.
That happens.
It's a lot better on a four-wheeler and a boat.
So he doesn't want to be a pilot either.
Yeah, no, you don't.
Long way to say that.
You don't do that.
Yeah. And, not all of us have the intestinal fortitude it takes to put in at Felsenthal and lock through and go all the way to Monroe just to get there and find that the gas place is closed.
Did Edmonds do that?
That did happen to me.
I'm not going to say names. I am going to point and whistle.
Well, I drove to Dumas.
I mean, who would think that they were closed? I mean, why would they have done that to me?
You were planning on getting gas when you got down there.
That was the plan.
Because it was like 30 cents cheaper or something?
No, it just seemed like the thing to do, Troy.
To get gas.
I mean, at the time, I had never bought Monroe gas in my Arkansas boat. So I thought maybe, it might like a little Cajun food. That's all. Well, we got down there, and it didn't open up till the following Monday. And
so you had to get up on the dry ground and go hunt something?
No, we came back to Arkansas.
I
held my breath all the way here. And about the time we pulled it up on the trailer, it run out of gas.
I went to Dumas yesterday to take dogs. We our club has a vet in our club, and when we have more than one or two, we drive to Dumas because he gives us a real good, gives us a good deal. And so we had 4 dogs to spay, and so Roger's looking over at my gas gauge, and it was less than a quarter when we left. He said, "You got to get some gas?" I said, "Well, surely there's some gas that is cheaper than in El Dorado." So we start driving up there, and we passed a couple of places. "You're not going to get gas?" I said, "No." So we got there, and 4 spayed dogs, that's going to take some time, So I'm out there, I got the truck running. And after about an hour, I went, I was almost out of gas when I got here, so I maybe go shut the truck off. So I did, and we got everything done and got back to the gas station, and my tank holds 35, and I took 34 and some change.
You had plenty.
I see. So plenty. Half a gallon would have gotten me back to somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, Casey's truck got that same tank on it, and I'll go down to First Financial and sign the paperwork, then I'll go fill it up. And, but I fill it up, and I get in and I look how many miles she has till empty. I said, "Yeah, we could drive to Hobbs, New Mexico from here, without missing a beat."
Yeah, fill it up. It'll say 500 and something miles.
Yeah, she left going to Nashville. And she said she had like 490 something miles till empty when she left.
Yeah.
And she calls me. She says, "I'm an hour out of Nashville." And it says I have 394 miles still.
She was cruising.
Yeah. I said, "Oh yeah, your eco boost done kicked in."
Yeah, she was dieseling.
She was drafting.
Yeah. She's behind a big truck.
Yeah, behind the big trucks and draft a little bit. Yeah. So, all right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about surge. Yeah, we're going to do that. It's all coming up right after this.
Finally.
On Off the Back Porch.
Yeah, they wore out by now.
Yeah.
A new shipment of express boats is in at Country Village Sporting Goods. Or maybe your boat just needs a little TLC. We have appointments available in our service department. And of course, we keep a great selection of Catalina campers. New baits, new tackle, and the latest in gear are arriving every week. So when we say everything you need to get to the water, the woods, or the camp, we're talking about Country Village Sporting Goods, 965 Smackover Highway in El Dorado. Like us on Facebook.
Rated the #1 course in Arkansas by Golf Week, Mystic Creek is truly a hidden gem, complemented by a modern clubhouse, complete with panoramic views. It also features a fully stocked pro shop and Mystic Grill, serving contemporary American cuisine and Southern classics. Mystic Creek promises an unforgettable experience.
Bad things happen, and of course, they never happen at the right time. Maybe it's just a little bump and cosmetic damage, or it's turned into a huge insurance claim and you just don't know where to go next. That's why so many of your neighbors and friends call on Cook's Body Shop in El Dorado. From the minor to the major, Cook's Body Shop is in your corner. Need someone to help you deal with insurance? Look to Cook's. Need advice on what to do next? Look to Cook's. Need a free estimate? Look to Cook's. Bad things are going to happen, and when they do, look to Cook's.
When it comes to your family's financial future, peace of mind matters. At Harrison Financial Management, they are right here to help you plan, grow, and protect what matters most. Whether you're planning for retirement, investing wisely, or securing your family's future, they will guide you every step of the way. Harrison Financial Management, your future, their commitment.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer, and sometimes Jax. And Mr. Edmonds, we've got you here. And
it's Mr. Edmonds now.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, listen, I could tell y'all about 30 stories that he would never be called Mr. anything ever again. And it's okay. I'm not going to tell them.
Good.
Yeah. That's my private entertainment. You know, so like when my wife says, "What have you been looking at on your phone?" I'm like, hey, that's my private entertainment.
Robert Edmonds stories.
Yeah, just listen. Just because it says licorice and pineapples, don't pay any attention to that.
You know what mine is? That's really loud. I'm barely listening to my phone. I can barely hear it.
You need earbuds.
And Fru's over there going, that's really loud.
Tell her mind her own business.
Oh yeah, I get that.
Do you get that?
I get that. Yeah.
That doesn't work. Mind your own business at my house.
No, I just wanted to see what.
Because she'll do that Sandy thing. She goes, "You see all this?" She says, "I run all this." She did that to me at lunch today. She looked at me and she kind of wiped the top of the counter off. I said, "Well, what are you slinging on the floor?" She said, "Well, must be sugar or something." She said, "I hadn't been in the sugar." I said, "Well, I was this morning. I ate Rice Krispies." She goes, "Well, there you go." I said, "Well, why'd you sling it on the floor?"
When did you pour your milk?
I poured the milk after. Yeah, I poured it over.
That's what I'd say too now.
She said, I said, "Why'd you sling it on the floor?" She goes, "Because I'm a sweep later. I run all this." I said, "Okay."
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Sugar on the floor. You go ahead.
Well, you told us last week. If it's outside.
Yeah. No, she said it. She said it.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. You told us last week
that she said
that the law has been made.
Mm-hmm.
That if it's outside, it's your domain.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's inside, it's her domain.
Mm-hmm.
And until she wants what's outside, and then it's her domain there too.
Or what I need to do inside, and that goes well as well.
That's exactly right.
But I'm happy to do it. Which camera we on? Which camera we on? I'm happy to do it, babe.
We're happy for him to do it too.
Yeah, you ought to be. Because do you know how quick you would die if you were single?
Oh my!
You wouldn't make it a week.
I wouldn't have my bills paid within a week or two.
We'd be all standing around casting. I told him not to leave Martha.
If Martha ain't there, nothing to eat for a few days. I said, because all I do is speak it out loud and it appears.
Yeah, enchanted life.
I speak things into existence at my house.
Yeah, nachos.
Right there.
Nachos just appeared.
The next night. Yeah.
So, Robert, you said, what kind of project do y'all have going on with the sewer pump?
Well, we started probably pre-COVID.
The pre-engineering stage around 2019.
The treatment plants had a life at the time they were built of 25 years, and 50 years later,
built in 72.
We were forced to do some upgrades, and we kicked the project around. It started out.
It was in the low 41 to $42 million range. Full renovation, all the DAF units. So, kind of put things on pause during the COVID, to see how things were going to work out. And then post-COVID, we get another price estimate from the same engineering firm, and then it went to $63 million.
I read that.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Robert and I took it upon ourselves to kind of do some number crunching. We went back to the engineering firm and Robert and I both realize, people this day and time, some people are on fixed income. It's hard for people to pay for their utility bills as it is. So we went back and crunched the numbers. We ended up getting a $33 million loan from the Arkansas Natural Resources Group, and a $5 million grant from ARPA to start the project. And we should be fully mechanically complete with both of the plants, the north plant and the south plant. We removed all of the sludge out of all the lagoons, 2 new DAF units at the north treatment plant over on Van Victor Dumas Road, and 3 DAF units at the south plant, all new mechanical switch gear, new transfer pumps that transfer from the lagoons back into the pipeline, replaced all of that. And we should be through mechanically. We have to be through to close on the loan by the end of this calendar year in December. And I run the numbers on it yesterday when Robert asked about this. And right now we're sitting roughly about a little bit over $25 million into the project. So we're hoping to bring it in
under budget.
Yeah.
He just said all that real fast, but that's a lot of stuff
It's been a 2-year project.
That's a lot of stuff that he just said.
Yeah, it's been a big project.
Yeah. It sounds like you're not only coming in under budget, but under the time allotment too.
Yeah, it's a lot of that, the equipment had to be built per size, say. So it's not like you could just go to the shelf and pick it up.
Right.
So that's why it took as long as it did.
Yeah. But still, you're going to be under budget and you're going to be under your time schedule.
Right.
And, we did reduce the scope of work, as he said, because it's as long as we have a functional product, we're going to put the same thing in it.
Yes, sir.
So you can
have
the
product is
the nachos that you were just talking about. Yeah. But the whole team's done really, really well.
So where are they? I mean, not that you're going to drive by them and go check them out, but
I mean, you can. I'd go in August if I were you, and they're very aromatic that time of year. Pretty water.
Yeah. He's not going to tell me where they are.
Yeah, the ones north of town is off of North Callion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
And then the ones south of town are just right down here off of Washington, past the 82 interchange.
Okay.
You know where the dog kennel, new dog kennel is?
You turn down that road.
Okay. Well, I know where the north one is. So
yeah. It's but it's been a really great.
I've been
project.
fishing in that pond. No.
Have you? Hey, I tell you a funny story about that pond. This was years ago before I was involved in El Dorado Water. I was getting my hair cut at the Esquire on the square.
Yeah.
And a kid was coming in there selling bullfrogs. And they were buying ice chests of these huge bullfrogs. He had a thriving business going until he told them where he was catching them, which was the North Sewer Treatment Plant. Killed his business overnight. I don't
imagine that.
I don't understand it. They were good-looking frogs.
Good-looking frogs.
Yeah.
Big legs.
healthy frogs. But the team's done a really good job. The El Dorado Water team's done great, and Van Horn and Hawkins Weir. The efficiency of the new plants. We had a construction meeting last week, and one of the guys, Richard Morgan, which is kind of the project manager over that, received a call from Energy.
Yep.
And wanted to know what was wrong with both of our plants. We weren't using the power
that we had before.
That we had been using. So the new machines, a lot of the new machines are online and working and very efficient. And it should last for a long time.
Well, let me ask a totally different question, just out of my ignorance. My son-in-law is a project manager for a construction company, and they built some kind of a lift unit over in Texas somewhere.
Lift station.
Mm-hmm. What is that? That's just to pick it up and put it somewhere else?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Bottom of the hill to the top.
They just made a big hole and kept pouring cement till
and they're expensive.
That's what he said.
Those cement holes are very expensive.
He spent 2 years on that. Of course, it's in a metro area, so you know.
Yeah.
But we don't need that. We're not lifting anything.
Well, we did. We replaced 2 pump stations at each plant.
Yeah.
The ones that we had were required confined space to get down and work in them.
Everything was dated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we upgraded everything. The scope of work that we took out was just unneeded wish list items. And also, prior to this, they've created an account over there that money goes into every month. So 10 years from now, when the ponds have to be dredged about every 10 years.
Okay.
And it's always since I can been around or since I can remember, it's always where are we going to get it? Where are we going to get the $2 million? We don't have it. We don't have it. So anyway, we've got a account dedicated for that. So 10 years down the road, there won't be any scramble around or rate increases to dredge the pond, which is a known maintenance item.
Right. Where does that go?
The sludge?
Yeah.
You can have some if you'd like.
No, I don't want any.
They land apply it. It's not a fertilizer. It's a soil amendment. And a lot of people, a soil amendment.
What does that mean?
It's not a fertilizer, but it makes your grass green.
Okay.
But it means
because I know a guy. I know a guy that had a bunch put on his land, and I said, well, it must have timed with that. I don't know if it was ours or.
I don't know. I don't know if it was ours. I mean,
it doesn't matter.
But they do. They land apply it for putting it on pasture land.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what he did.
Yeah, and it's a great. If you can imagine, it's a great product for that.
Yeah,
and now he gets 6 cuttings a year out of his hands.
He can't keep that cut fast enough.
Well, we use it to train dogs on, and he told us he was going to do that. Of course, it's a year later, and it's a good field.
Yeah.
So, what other projects y'all have going on?
Good gosh, that's big there.
Yeah, we have. In the background, while this has been going on, we have swapped. For years, the procedure was to inject liquid chlorine as a bacteria disinfectant into the water. So we've made 2 separate projects, I guess you could say. Basically, we're taking the liquid chlorine gas, and we're going to start injecting sodium hypochlorite, which is a basic bleach. That's been running kind of in parallel with the behind the scenes of this other.
Yeah, but are you putting fluoride in the water?
It depends on which year it is. Some years the yolk's good for the egg, and then sometimes you're supposed to eat the white. So,
yeah.
Going.
Our dear friend Rodney Wimberly, may he rest in peace. He never complained about anything as much as he complained about fluoride in the water.
He did. Yeah. They still put fluoride in it. There's naturally occurring fluoride in the Sparta water.
Yeah.
It's not to the threshold that. I think they inject a small amount. It's not a lot.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
It's not a lot of fluoride that they have to put in it, but they do. They still inject.
Whatever the state mandates, they come contrary to people's belief. They come around random and take water samples back.
Check your water.
Yeah,
and they don't tell us where they're taking the sample. It's anywhere in our our system that they sample that water. So
you know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, if we're doing something wrong,
why would you be?
Yeah.
As long as the standards are what the standards are. Now, where I would have a problem is if they start lowering the standards to below what a national average, or they raise them to a point to where it's like, oh dear Lord,
right?
We won't ever be able to afford water again. Of course, thank God we don't have a data center. Man. Those places that are getting data centers, they're crying the blues now because
they use a lot of water.
Yes,
they use a lot of water and a ton of electricity.
Yeah, I knew they use a lot of electricity.
So they're
cooling with water, I guess.
One community that got them a data center, guy said, "Hey, my water bill had been about $52, $53 a month, even during the summer when I'm watering my yard."
Right.
And he said, "It's not even summer yet, and my water bill's $185." And because they're having to get water from wherever they can get it, trying to keep these data centers. And we can always do what China did.
What did they do?
Theirs underwater.
Yeah, I saw they were building solar farms on top of the ocean too. That didn't take their farmland up or timberland.
Now you spent some time in China.
Briefly.
Yeah.
Nothing like the good old USA.
Yeah, that's true. With yellow school buses and parking lots that attach to where you're going.
Yeah, and Buc-ee's.
And a Buc-ee's, that's right.
And people that pour their milk on top of the cereal.
No,
I think that's
the only way to do it.
That's the only way to do it. It's the only way to do it.
Because you got to have the correct cereal milk ratio.
Exactly.
You do. Yeah. And that's like Shane said, you don't know how much milk to put in there that you get your.
Sure, you got to put your.
What kind of cereal?
It does.
Because I'm going to tell you, Honey Nut Cheerios don't take the same amount of milk that Frosted Mini
Wheats take, yeah.
And this is important information to get out.
It is.
It really is.
And for people who say I don't bring up the hard
stuff. Yeah. Just try that. Just try pouring your milk and then put your cereal in.
Right.
See where you come out.
That's right.
Serial killer.
Yeah, you'll be a serial killer. Start watching South Arkansas now. You'll be a better person for it.
You will be.
Yeah,
That's a real health benefit.
it is.
Elizabeth, be sure we double his pay this week.
Sure. She's writing the checks.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, you remember?
I know her.
said Boomer said one time, I said, we're going to double your pay for that. He said, nothing from nothing leaves nothing.
Nothing plus nothing leaves nothing.
Yeah. So,
those two projects are going really well. Yeah.
I know y'all got some stuff you have to go do and you got places you got to go. But just keep in mind for next time, we'll talk about the Expo Center.
Yeah.
And,
Infrastructure.
You know, I mean, look, it's no secret. Our water system is over 100 years old.
Correct.
And, I
Over a lot of other places.
You know, I remember one day, kids and I were driving down Timber Lane, and one of them said, Daddy, why is there always water right here? It ain't rained. And I was like, you know what? That's a 100-year-old water system. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, they need to fix that. I said, yeah. I said, it's a cost benefit thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, what do you mean? I said, well, if it's going to make my water bill go up, just let it drain.
That's the benefit right there.
You know?
Well, and there's failures. There's failures all over.
Sure. Yeah, they've put patches up and down my street a whole bunch, but
Yeah.
Put
and
a
at the
patch.
time, back at the time when the water and sewer were both put in, originally, that was the thing to do, was put them under the street, because at the time the street was about the only right of way that the city owned.
Yeah.
Now that you try to get
in the
them
middle
out
of the street at my house.
Sure.
Yeah.
And of course now any new construction, you get it out of the roadway and put it in a right of way outside of that. But
Randy Atkinson had your job.
Yeah.
And we had to replace our line to the sewage. And Randy said, well, you got to pay for it all the way out there. I said, I got to, and I was new to town. I said, you mean I got to pay to cut that street up right there? He said, yeah. I said, well, I'm going to put me a little garage right there then. If that's my responsibility. I'm just going to park my truck right under one of them little Mexican put-up things. He said, come on, man. He was tired of the complaints already.
If you've owned a home for very long in El Dorado and the previous owner didn't replace that line going to the sewer, you will.
You will, yeah.
Yeah.
That was 30
you had
years.
yours done about the same time I had mine done. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That was 30 years ago I had that done.
Yours is due again?
Is due again. I was hoping I'd be gone by now.
Well, you're probably good. There's still a lot of Orangeburg pipes under the road that was basically tar and cardboard.
Yeah.
That they made back in the World War II, like 1 and 2.
Tar and cardboard.
Yeah, they were taking all the metal to shoot at people. So
well, sure. They were going with wheelbarrows and collecting it at people's houses back then.
But there's still a lot of that stuff that's still functional. It's still in the ground.
The clay is even better then.
The clay? Yeah, the clay.
It's better than cardboard and tar.
Yeah.
I love that magnolia tree in my yard, but if I ever have to do that again, that thing's coming down.
I'd have cut that thing down a long time ago if I lived there.
One of the kids told me just the other day, he said, Dad, kudos to you. You saved that tree, because I nearly lost it. It nearly died.
You should have let it go.
I should have probably, but I love that magnolia tree.
You don't cut your own grass, do you?
Yes, I do.
You still do?
Yeah.
And you like those leaves?
I cut mine and hers. That's right.
You like those leaves?
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying. I didn't like when I cut your grass, for sure.
Yeah, well, you was missing.
That's why you fired me?
No, I didn't fire you.
I quit.
Yeah, you sold your company.
Oh, that's right. I got hot one August.
You know what? I ain't got to do this.
I said,
my wife has a job.
The whole point of starting a lawn care business was to make money to play golf. And next thing I knew, I don't have time to play golf because I'm cutting 90 yards.
Yeah, we'd call and say, hey, but we're going to meet. Man,
I got 6 more yards to do.
I got oil I got to do, and I got 6 more yards, and I got to go to Minden.
Yeah, I had 3 or 4 yards in Minden because my daughter and my sister-in-law lived there. So then they bought.
I brought Edmonds over to the house one day. I said, what can I do to save that tree? And he told me exactly. He said, get out there at the drip line, get your post hole digger and dig you several holes. And he said, fill them with gravel. And he said, he said, you're going to keep watering it. And that's what I did.
What did that do?
Got water down off the surface.
Water further down?
Yeah. Gentlemen, thank y'all.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
And we're going to take another break. When we come back, we will have more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
When it comes to protecting your home or business, trust the name that's been serving South Arkansas for 3 generations, Cross Roofing and Sheet Metal. From residential roofs to large commercial projects, the experienced team at Cross delivers quality you can see and reliability you can count on. Cross Roofing and Sheet Metal, built on trust, proven by results. Call Cross Roofing today. Put a solid future over your head.
For over 6 decades, Glenn Mechanical has been specializing in HVAC, plumbing, and all mechanical jobs. 3 generations family-owned and operated since 1956. Glenn Mechanical's business is based on relationships. They support and give back to the communities they work in. Contact them for all of your HVAC, plumbing, and mechanical needs. GlennMechanical.com.
Serving South Arkansas for 25 years, and all the while expanding and growing throughout the state, ProMed Ambulance is proving their motto of world-class care and hometown values. For example, their new mobile integrated healthcare communication center. This state-of-the-art facility allows communication specialists to work directly with local 911 call centers to ensure the closest medical team is always dispatched to any emergency. World-class care and hometown values. For more information and career opportunities, go to ProMedAmbulance.com.
Non-stop phone calls, registered mail, repossessions, or threats of lawsuits from creditors, and it seems like no one is willing to let you hit pause and just catch your breath. You need the help of Robert Rushing and the Rushing Law Firm. Bankruptcy is not the end. It can be a chance for a fresh start. The Rushing Law Firm goes to work for you, letting you hit that pause button and start over. Call the Rushing Law Firm today at 870-875-2940 or stop by the office at 725 Northwest Avenue in El Dorado. The Rushing Law Firm.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer. And Boomer, I know this is going to surprise you, but we have letters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
not going to surprise me, I know.
Yeah. Dear Sandy and Boomer, unfortunately, Boomer and I have something in common. Neither of us are Gen X. But while he's a whatever he called it, Joneser, I call myself Gen X adjacent. I barely missed out being born in 1964, but I wanted to get y'all's take on something. For me, the greatest year ever in my life was 1984. Think about it. That was the year we got Beverly Hills Cop and Ghostbusters. It's also the same year we got Purple Rain and The Terminator. We got 16 Candles and The Karate Kid. The top performers were all in their prime. Prince, Michael Jackson, Huey Lewis, Bruce Springsteen. Mm-hmm. In sports, Hulk Hogan won the WWE title. Mm-hmm. Michael Jordan entered the NBA along with Elijah Wan, Charles Barkley, and John Stockton. That is also the first year that we had Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson in the NBA Finals. And not to mention Joe Montana was in his prime. Plus, like icing on the cake, we had the Olympics here in the U.S. with 0 Russians. So tell me, in your opinion, was 1984 the best? Signed, Danny and Hamburg.
That was a pretty good year.
Yeah, 84
for all those things.
For those, yeah. Now I was a little young. I mean, in 84, I would have been 12, about to turn 13, and because my birthday's not till December.
Yeah.
So it's like going to be way, almost 85 before I turn 13. But yeah, that was 84 was a good year. 86 was a better year for me. 86 was the year that we moved from Houston up to our farm in East Texas. And I round peg, round hole.
Yeah.
I fit right in.
Fit in there.
So, dear Sandy and Boomer, a few episodes, Boomer talked about driving in Houston. Excuse me, I know that's a lie. Because you don't drive in Houston, you survive in Houston.
That is the truth.
It's the only place I've ever been that something that's supposed to be, quote unquote, nearby means you're within 53 minutes from it.
Yeah.
I've never been to a city where a billionaire, a Nigerian prince, a rapper, a Dominican barber, a stripper named Diamond who gave up her nursing license because she makes more at the Gentleman's Lounge, a heart surgeon, and a stay-at-home mom will all stand in the same line at Whataburger, all ordering the #1 combo with cheese and jalapenos. But I will say this. The women in Houston are some of the finest I've ever seen in my life. I would crawl across a parking lot of broken glass on my hands and knees to meet most of these women. And it don't matter if they white, black, Latino, or Asian. Something happening down there to make them women that fine. So I guess Houston is okay. Signed, Jarrell in El Dorado.
Well, Jarrell be like in Houston.
Yeah. So, Jarrell, you were absolutely right about Houston. I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of the few places I've been where you can drive for 3 hours and still be in Houston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's if traffic's okay.
Well, we have some friends that live down in League City, which, is still basically Houston metro area.
Yeah.
So the first time we went down there, they said, well, we're going to run up to some shops that we want to take y'all to. So we jump out there and they said, I said, well, where are we going? They said, Spring. I said, dude, that's from League City to Spring is like more than an hour away.
That's like El Dorado to Little Rock.
Yeah. But that's metro, when you're that in those large areas, to them, it's just not very far. In fact, my nephew is planning to come to El Dorado, and he didn't know that you could, we had flight service here, and that he could fly. If he lives in Dallas, he could fly here and then fly home cheaper than you can drive.
For one person especially.
Yeah.
Now, if you got 6 people, then maybe you got to figure it out.
But he was planning to come, and the weather got bad last weekend, and his flight was canceled. But I said, he said, well, I'll just come to the house. He said, or I can drive out to Lisa's, go to Lisa's. I said, yeah, but Lisa lives so far out. I said, well, wait a minute, you're from Dallas. I said, she lives like 5 miles from me. So we think that's way out there.
Way out there in the country.
Yeah. So, it's different. And it was different, when I lived in Oklahoma, everything is so far apart.
Yeah, so spread out.
Oklahoma City per square miles is one of the largest cities in the world as far as, how big it is. And so, we drive 45 minutes to go eat lunch, stuff like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Houston,
it is that for sure. So, in 2017, for mine and the lovely Mrs. Sanford's anniversary, she bought me tickets to an Astros game.
Yeah.
She had never been to a Major League Baseball game, so she got 2 tickets so she could go to.
Yeah.
And so, someone asked me, said, so where are y'all staying? I said, I got us a hotel room in Katy. Katy? I was like, dude, Katy to downtown is not that bad.
Yeah.
And I said, the game's on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Mid-afternoon. Katy to downtown is no big deal.
Yeah.
And, but there's now during the week, let's say from 7 in the morning, you need to get from Katy to downtown. You need to leave about 5.
Yeah. Cause it'll be bumper.
It will be packed, I lived
6 lanes, 75 miles an hour.
I lived in Katy, and it was funny. We had our choice of start time, and you could start at 5 a.m. and work till 1 p.m., or you could start at 7 and work till 3. And I always chose 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And one of the guys was like, man, I don't know how you do that. And I said, I'll tell you exactly how you do that. I said, because I have to leave at the same time no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what do you mean? I said, if I leave 10 minutes later than I do to get here at 5, I will not get here till 7. It's that simple. I mean, that's Houston traffic.
Yeah.
And that's back when the Katy freeway was only about 3 lanes.
It's like 6 now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, I think that was one of the things, one of the people who were at the World Cup, they were like, look at this highway. This is I-10 west out of Houston. And it was like 14 lanes.
Yeah.
But they were counting feeders and all that too. Yeah. But still, I mean, that's a lot of concrete.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's always being laid.
All the time.
All the time. Some more's being laid.
When I was a kid, they used to call Highway 59, which is now I-69, but back then they called it Super Slab 59.
Yeah.
Because, brother, concrete trucks would line up for miles, and it was always, there wasn't a day.
Yeah.
And it rains in Houston nearly every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it may rain for just 10 minutes. Sometimes it may rain for 10 days. But yeah, those concrete trucks, didn't matter, rain or shine, bro. They lined up along 59 to go dump a load of concrete.
Yeah.
So you're going to like this. Dear Sandy and Boomer, there's a reason when someone makes a corny joke or a bad joke, it's called a dad joke. Well, the two of you are the daddiest dads I've ever watched.
Thank you.
Your jokes are terrible, and your advice is even worse. Signed, Nick in Camden.
Thank you, Nick.
Well, Nick, let me just say this. First of all, I'm sorry your dad sucks. It's pretty obvious. He didn't teach you something called manners. It's one thing to think it. It's a whole other thing to type it out and hit send.
But I don't care what you say, Nick. Your dad used to be hilarious. He used to be funny. You know why your dad's not funny anymore? Because of your mom. That's why. Because let me tell you what Nick's dad probably used to do. Him and his buddies would be hanging out, having a couple of beers, played a round of golf or whatever, went fishing. And they are telling some of the most horrendous jokes you've ever heard in your life about dead babies, people in wheelchairs, no minority was safe. You know, they're telling these and rolling laughing.
Yeah.
And then along comes the prison warden, your mom.
Yeah.
And she's like, because she does things for your dad that his buddies, he won't allow them to do. He has to listen to her, right? And so she's like, take that back. You should say things nicer. The kids can hear you.
Yeah.
And
so it morphed into those.
All that's left are corny ass jokes your dad tells, i.e. dad jokes. Yeah. Thanks, Mom. So, Nick, if you got anybody to blame for dad jokes, it's your mom.
I'm glad you're a let it go type of guy.
Nick, your dad sucks. It's your mom's fault.
Oh, man.
Anyway. Dear Sandy and Boomer, my wife and I have different definitions of the phrase, we can afford it.
Okay.
For example, if we have $500 in our checking account, I think, nice. My wife thinks, excellent. We should spend $497 of it immediately. She calls herself an impulse purchaser. I call her a financial stunt driver. Packages arrive at our house so often, our UPS driver knows our dog's name. The problem is that none of the purchases are outrageous. It's never a yacht or a sports car or new golf clubs for me. It's decorative pillows, kitchen gadgets, seasonal decorations, storage containers for the things she bought last month, and organizational systems to organize the organizational systems she bought last month. When I ask why we need another basket, she says, so it can hold the other baskets.
Like I'm a basket for the baskets.
I love this woman dearly, but I'm concerned we're one online sale away from turning our guest room into an Amazon distribution center.
Oh my.
How can I discuss budgeting without sounding like the villain in a Hallmark movie? Signed, checking account on life support.
Yeah. I've got a buddy that they have a room in their house called the Walmart room. Yeah.
Well, to answer your question, you can't. There's no way. You are going to be wrong no matter what you say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was actually prepared. I was actually kind of fingers crossed hoping my wife was having a thing going with the FedEx guy because he was at my house so much, but no, she was just buying crap from the Cottery and wherever else.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think it's called the Cottery anymore.
I don't know what that is.
It was an online lady. I think she's from here. She don't live here, but it was an online thing where basically she was a paid influencer who would, you know, she would give you codes. Hey, today, guys, I've got a 50% off code from Amazon for this product.
Yeah.
And so she would do product
placement
and product influencing. And she just makes a commission. That's how that's what she does. Mm-hmm. And man, the Cottery was the thing, brother. It was. Well, is it still called the Cottery? Oh, okay.
We Martha's really frugal. We're kind of the opposite of those two. You know, I'm thinking, you know, let's spend it. You know, we got it. Let's spend it. And she's got a number that she wants. You know, a threshold number that she didn't want to get under. Just for safety, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a extravagant spender, but I don't worry about it as much as she does. But she keeps it. But everything that we get mostly comes in. So if it can be ordered and sent to the house, I mean, we get toilet paper and paper towels and laundry soap, and she gets it at a good price somewhere. So.
I joke about it, but one time Casey found this deal on toilet paper, and literally, like an Arkansas's best freight truck backs up into my driveway.
She bought a case,
and I'm like, "Did you get a pallet of toilet paper?"
I mean,
and so this guy unloads it. Well, it's a box, and it's pretty big.
Yeah,
it didn't have to be sent in an Arkansas best freight truck.
Yeah, but it just came.
But that's just how it came. And so I gave her a hard time for a long time about, you order that pallet of toilet paper. Well, that was at the end of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2020, when COVID hit, You couldn't find toilet paper anywhere?
Yeah.
Guess who had plenty?
Y'all were glad that you had plenty.
I was like, baby, I love that pallet of toilet paper you bought.
You know, that's the whole model of Sam's is that in those big stores, Costco, and is to get you to buy 4 of them, stock it in your shelf, and they have your money.
That's right.
They'll give you a good cost. Good price.
Good price, yeah.
But you're not going to go in there and buy one of something.
No,
it's going to be bundled in 2s or 4s. Or
yes, absolutely.
Whatever.
Yeah, you know, being a radio guy, I eat vitamin C like crazy. You know, because again, when we were in radio, Boomer knows this. Everybody was putting their mouths to that same microphone. Yeah. So if you wanted a day off working for me, the quickest way was to come in about 3 times and see if I didn't send you home.
We Lysol screen.
We sure did.
Phones, mic screens all the time.
Yeah, it was. You know, we were a step away from everybody having their own.
Yeah.
You know, you had to have your own headphones.
Yeah.
But we know a couple people, they would have never been able to keep up with their own mic screen. But anyway, so I would eat vitamin C like crazy. And, you know, go to Sam's and you can't buy a jar of vitamin C. Oh, you can, but there's 15,000 in it. You know, it's like you got to have a dolly to get it to the truck.
It's a gallon.
You know, so, yeah. Good. Hey, can you get me some vitamin C out of that 5-gallon bucket of vitamin C in there?
Just give me a scoop or 2.
Yeah. Let's see. Dear Sandy and Boomer, my neighbor and I have been locked in an unspoken competition for nearly 6 years. I don't know how to stop it. It began innocently enough when he bought a new riding lawnmower, and the next weekend I had bought one and mine was slightly larger. He planted flowers, so I planted more flowers. He added landscape lighting. I added landscape lighting. Now we're both trapped. If he trims his hedges, I trim mine. If I pressure wash my driveway, he pressure washes his driveway. Last month, he installed a fountain. Guess what I spent the last 2 weeks researching? Fountains. And he said, and then I realized I have become the very thing that I hate. The worst part is he's actually my best friend. We wave, we hang out, we eat at each other's homes, we chat, we borrow tools, yet every Saturday morning we quietly march outside and continue the suburban arms race. Neither of us can admit we're competing, but we absolutely are. How do I end this without looking like I've surrendered? Because one thing I will not do is lose. Signed, one decorative rock away from bankruptcy.
Sell your house and move.
Yeah.
No.
Other than that, that's about all you can do.
So, you know, if he said if he won't lose, then if winning is at all cost, then get you something huge.
Yes.
Put you something like solar panels or something like that.
Ooh, yeah.
Put your solar panels on there, and if he does that, well, then you've won.
You know what? I want solar panels, but I'm gonna watch me some online videos about how to install them.
Well, you're still young enough to get solar panels for them to pay off, you know.
Well, especially if I install them, because evidently that's where the expense is.
Oh, it's the installation is the heavy expense.
Yeah,
most of the time they're almost given to you.
Yeah, solar panels aren't that expensive, but it's the installation.
Have you seen those solar panel fields before?
Oh yeah,
some of them are huge.
Yeah, have you ever walked near one?
No, I've never walked one near one.
Yeah, it'll be 90 degrees hotter.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, it changes. And
oh, my.
And birds don't like it.
No. Yeah. Or windmills. Birds don't
like it. Yeah, the birds definitely don't like those.
They don't like windmills either. Yeah. But
and whales don't like the ones out off the East Coast either.
But, you know, I have one roof. One side of my roof faces totally south. And that's what you need. You need it facing the southern sky.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, you know.
And I always look at
Boomer, I'll cook some ribs. You come over and help me. We'll install them.
Well, yeah, you get up there and I'll cook the ribs. But I always check that when I see it on someone's house. I said, well, that's not facing south. In fact, there's one house in my neighborhood that's facing east. And there's trees.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like they're getting a lot of bang for their buck.
Well, someone came in and said, we'll put them up there for you. If you'll whatever.
Had to have.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
because there's some government loans or grants.
Oh, there are. But, you know, there was some guys that came through our neighborhood a while back, and I thought they were Mormons at first, but they weren't. They were just a step this side of carnival workers, but they were come through pitching. And I was like, man, we're not trying to sell you anything today. We just want to set an appointment where somebody can talk to you. Well, the guy comes to my office a few days later, and he was the cleanest of the carnies. And But you can tell people who are not comfortable wearing a necktie. And this guy was not comfortable wearing a necktie. The other thing is he was probably 6'1", about $140. And he was wearing about a 17.5 shirt. So his collar was buttoned, but it's out to here, except that he had his necktie cinched tight. So now he looks like a cartoon, You remember them buckets that Bozo used to throw stuff in on the Bozo show? That's what it looked like, them buckets. They're just big open spots and a tight necktie right there. Anyway, he comes in and we go over the numbers, and I'm good to go, man. Let's do it. It's going to cost me basically the price to install it was about my electric bill. Yeah. It was about what the electric bill costs. And, but the thing I know was it also showed I'm going to be turning in some electricity every month back to the grid, and they're going to pay me for that. So it was going to end up being less than my electric bill. I'm like, I'm in. Let's do it. Filled out the credit app. It's approved. To this day, they've yet to ever schedule a time to come put them in. And that was 3+ years ago.
That's odd.
I guess maybe they said, we don't want, he thought we was Mormons. We ain't going over there.
Oh, heavens.
Well, Boomer, I've recently, I haven't gone on a lot of vacations. Yeah. But I was telling somebody this the other day, and they said, why have you never told this on the podcast? And I was like, well, I need to write it down because I won't remember it, And they said, oh, you write it down just the way you just told it. Yeah. And I love going to places, Boomer, with older people. Okay. So we were on vacation a few years ago, and we were touring a battleship. Yeah. And our tour guide was a young Gen Z guy who introduced himself to the group as Tay, they, them. And I realized that in my early 50s, other than my family, I'm the youngest person there. Okay. Other than the tour guide. I also realized that like 8 different people were wearing MAGA hats, and they weren't together. Yeah. 3 of those 8 were African American, wearing MAGA hats. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm giddy because I'm thinking all the inappropriate stuff that I'm thinking they're going to say. Just give them a minute, Yeah. So anyway, we're talking about guys who can't use speech to text, because they accents don't translate over onto the Siri. Yeah. So Tay, the tour guide, is walking us through, and he is in absolute disgust as he's explaining that this ship was used during World War II, and that just a handful of American sailors held off a barrage from both air and sea of German fighters. And one of the men wearing a MAGA hat says to Tay, Tay, when do the rest of them get here? And Tay says, the rest of who? The man looks around the room and says, well, they and them. And Tay shrugged his shoulders and continued the tour. He talked about how the American sailors cheated by launching laundry that was set on fire against the unprepared Germans who were trying to board the ship. And I mean, I'm sitting there thinking he literally feels bad for the Germans, and I'm thinking, do you not, y'all call Trump a Nazi, but do you not remember where the Nazis were? Okay. MAGA hat number 2 says to MAGA hat number 6, I can't wait for the other tour guides to get here either. And Tay overhears it and he says, there are no other tour guides. MAGA hat 5 says, then why the hell did you introduce yourself as part of a community? And Tay says, I'm not part of a community, I'm alone. And he says, well, then who the hell is they, them? And Tay says, I am. Well, everyone kind of nods now when MAGA hat number 4's wife says, baby, it's like Marjorie. And he's like, Marjorie? Yeah, my sister's daughter. Said, the one with the piercings in her face? He has multiple personalities. And so everybody seemed to be kind of happy with that.
That was a good explanation.
That's fine, yeah. So Tay then takes us into this lower part of the ship, and he starts bemoaning the fact that right here in this spot of the ship, 12 Germans gave their lives as they were trying to invade the engine room. Well, one of the MAGA hat guys says, hey, Tay and them.
Tay and them.
how many Americans died right here? He said, none. And another guy says, damn straight. And they high-fived each other. And then two of the African-American MAGA hat guys start singing, and I'm proud to be an American. And Tay walks off. He just leaves. We don't see him again until the very end. So we go through the engine room and we're like looking around and we end up taking some staircases. We don't know where they go, but we finally at the very end, we spot Tay and he's down here talking to someone who's like a supervisor. And one of the guys goes, there's Tay and them. And Tay just takes off down the gangplank and leaves the ship. And one of the African-American guys said, he damn sure has multiple personalities. I've never seen one white kid run that fast.
So this happened.
This happened. Yeah.
That's not coulda.
No, this happened in Florida. And
is that battleship right there going to Florida? Or?
Yeah. And so I was telling that and somebody's like, why have you never told that on the podcast? And I was like, I can't always remember it.
How it goes.
How it goes. And they were like, oh no, you got it.
That is hilarious.
And that's what Tay and them. Look again.
Hey, look, there's Tay and them.
I mean, the next closest in my age had to be 70. And, those guys are just going to say what they're thinking.
Yeah.
And, when that woman said, like Marjorie's daughter,
she's
the
got
one with all
multiple
the piercings in her face, she's got multiple personalities. That's what's...
Oh, and he took
anything. That's him.
He took offense to all that.
And he was just like, he didn't know what to do at that point,
my Lord.
Well, how many Americans died right here? None. Damn straight.
Damn. Skippy. Them.
Hey,
None of them died, them. You hear me? You hear me, they, them?
There goes Tay and them.
They did. Now, all them Germans, they died.
Yeah.
They. That's a who's on
my.
First story.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. All right, let's take a break.
All right.
We'll come back. We'll have more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
For 50 years, one name has kept South Arkansas rolling strong, Smackover Motors. From brand new rides to dependable pre-owned vehicles and hard-working fleets, Smackover Motors has helped generations find the perfect fit for the road ahead. And long after the sale, their expert service department keeps you moving with trusted care, honest work, and hometown service you can count on. 50 years of keys, miles, handshakes, and community. Smackover Motors, driven by service, powered by trust since 1976.
Welcome to Davis Farms Country Market in El Dorado, Arkansas. This is more than just a place to shop. It is a place where local farms, markets, and families can share what they do best. Inside, you'll find fresh produce, locally raised beef and pork, farm fresh eggs, jams, honey, seasonings, baked goods, grilling supplies, and plenty of Arkansas-made favorites. There's also a deli serving sandwiches, salads, gumbo, and other tasty choices. So whether you are planning supper, shopping for a gift, or searching for something delicious, stop by Davis Farms Country Market. Just be careful. You may come in for one thing and leave with 17. Davis Farms Country Market.
32 years ago, a young Robert Rushing began his life of public service joining the El Dorado Fire Department. While saving lives during the day, Robert Rushing put himself through college and law school at night, eventually opening a law practice in 2010 to protect and serve the rights of people in South Arkansas. By the way, he was still working as a fireman at the time. And after 23 years of service, Robert Rushing answered the call again and was elected as city attorney. Today, Robert Rushing still has that desire to serve. Re-elect Robert Rushing as El Dorado city attorney.
Everybody loves a parade, and hilarious pizza throws parades all week long. Bring the family in for your favorites, or explore the variety that Larry's Pizza offers. Come join us at Larry's Pizza for the greatest parade ever.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer. And Boomer, you and I have some shared heritage, you more so than me, in that we have Cajun family.
Yes.
And, for those who don't know, welcome out from under the rock. But Boomer was actually born and raised in Morgan City, Louisiana. And if you're looking for it on a map, just start going south in Louisiana, and you'll get there.
When
eventually.
You point to Lafayette, if you see Lafayette, just go straight down and right before you hit the Gulf, that's Morgan City.
Yeah, that is what's called prime Cajun country, Acadiana, if you will. So, Boomer, this, I have these memories and these things that come to mind, and I jot them down in my phone so I can remember to ask you about them.
Yeah.
There in South Louisiana, you remember people would paint the underside of their front porch, the ceiling of their front porch. Do you remember what color it would be?
Blue.
See, no prompt.
Yeah.
Do you remember what they called that color?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah. So it would be blue, but not just blue. Paint blue.
No, I've never heard that before.
Okay, so if you went to the hardware store to get your paint, to paint the underside of your porch, your front porch, you would go in and tell the man, I need somebody to add that paint blue. And the paint blue, because the thought was that the blue underneath represented sky, and bugs and mosquitoes and all, they wouldn't come under there because they thought, well, I'm not under the porch because I'm seeing the sky.
Yeah.
But it was also believed that it warded off evil spirits. Haints.
Yeah.
So it was called.
I did not know
it was
that.
called Haint Blue.
Yeah.
That's how I grew up. I looked it up online, and sure enough, it's a thing. But Boomer, how about this? You ever eat lost bread?
Yeah. Yeah, that's just old bread.
Yeah. No, well,
isn't it old bread?
Well, for us, lost bread or pain perdu, is French toast.
Yeah, we'll make something out of it.
Just French toast. So when they said we're going to eat lost bread, I was like, yes, because I love French toast.
Mama used to make bread pudding out of lost bread too, and it's usually made out of French bread, but lost bread would be actually made out of sliced bread.
Yeah, lost bread is made out of sliced bread, and a real bread pudding is made from French bread. Still French bread, but you can take any kind of bread.
Oh, you can make any kind of bread with bread pudding.
Yeah. Boomer, you never grew up hearing somebody say, "How do you say that?" What you would hear them say is, "What you call that?"
Yeah, how do you call that?
How do you call that? Yeah. And that, I love that. And that's the thing about the Cajun culture is just those things. You heard him say the other day, I mean, he said something about blah, I have an envie for that. And I was like, hold on a minute. His inner Cajun kicked in.
A
hankering. That's right. Yeah. An envie.
Yeah.
Now, Boomer, this one's not going to be easy, and it may not be the same for everybody, but I know what it was for me. First of all, if someone in your family drank coffee that wasn't black, what did they call it? Coffee milk?
Coffee milk is what my grandmother called it.
So if you put coffee milk in a bowl and break up some bread over the top of it, sprinkle a little bit of sugar, sometimes some cinnamon, what did y'all call that?
I never did that.
You never did that?
Nuh-uh.
Oh.
Oatmeal?
It's just the Boomer from an affluent part of Haitiana. I grew up poor, so that coffee soup.
Coffee soup,
coffee soup. That was the thing. They take coffee milk, and then you break up the bread and put in there and put a little sugar, maybe a little cinnamon, and you just eat that. And
my grandmother ground her coffee every morning, and she made. And I've said this before. She made coffee like at 5:30 and didn't want you to get up. She wanted to sit there and read her Bible and listen to Garner Ted Armstrong on the radio.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, she would listen on CBS radio. Ba-da-da-da-da, and it was Garner Ted Armstrong. And I don't know. She didn't know.
Yeah, but your grandmother didn't speak a lot of English either.
No, she didn't.
So she wasn't catching much of it.
No, I guess not. It was just,
wow.
She would sit there with her Bible and rock. You could hear it rock, and she would read her Bible and pray in the morning.
So translate this for me, Boomer. C'est quoi ça?
I don't know that phrase.
What that is, or what is that?
Yeah.
That was always a. So somebody's sitting over there and they're like, they're c'est quoi ça?
Yeah.
What do you got? What is that?
Let me tell you something that happened with my mother's generation. They would not let them.
Oh no, they were beat.
They would not let them speak French. So consequently, French was just eradicated from our family in my mother's generation.
Yes.
And so when they started school, mother was born in 18 or 19. And so when they started school, there were a lot of people that still at home, everything was still French.
Cajun French. Yeah.
And so they wouldn't let them speak it in the schools. So consequently, my grandmother, their generation, stopped all the kids from speaking. And my mother didn't use a lot of. Now she could understand it. She could.
Yeah.
We'd go to Grandma's house, and Grandma would be speaking French to the fruit guy. She had a guy that brought her mail every day. That wasn't the mailman.
Yeah.
And they would speak French, but she could tell me what all they said. But yeah, that's why I didn't catch a lot of those phrases.
Yeah. You know, Uncle Mason's family, Mason. And it's funny because his name is Maison LeBlanc.
Yeah.
The White House.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Uncle Mason's mother, I don't think she spoke any English.
Mm-hmm.
And she's probably about the same age as your grandmother, as your mother. And she didn't speak any, if any, just very little English. And so I would come in and she's shy,
Shetty baby.
But they kept the Cajun French going. But I heard the stories of they would go to school and the school marm or the principal would absolutely beat those children.
Yeah, they don't want them to mainstream, and it's sad.
It is sad.
Now after generations, there are a lot of them, the true Acadiana Cajun people that are trying to revive it and keep it. Because that was a very fluid language.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the French that they used was mixed with other stuff and a lot of English. They'd get to a word and they'd just use the English word.
Yeah.
And so, I follow some guys on online that really try to keep
Here's what's so funny. Here's how you can tell someone who has a real Cajun background. And they'll start talking about their grandmother. And, someone like me grew up in Texas, it's mama.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if they say, so my mama,
yeah.
She used to say,
yeah.
You could tell that's real Cajun. Yeah. So, Boomer, did your mama call it a Magnolite or a La Marmette?
She called it a Magnolite.
Magnolite. Yeah. Now, don't forget this: Magnolites are marmots, and cast irons. Those are heirlooms.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard story. I didn't witness it. Like my friend Martha Berrios says, I'm not holding a Polaroid. But I heard stories of fist fights that broke out like right after the funeral.
Over the Magnolite.
Who's getting the Marmite or the cast irons?
Yeah.
That's. Listen,
Martha and I have acquired a lot of Magnolite stuff, and but it's at great expense.
Yeah, see that I haven't of all the cooking I do not have a Magnolite. And I want one so bad.
You can get online and find them.
Oh, you can.
You're gonna pay the price.
But I'm not looking to spend $250,000. That's what it feels like
on cookery.
On cookery, yeah. Man, I'm thinking if I spend that much on something, it better come with a smoker and a stack and
But she's got the big roasting pot that's that large.
See, that's what I want.
She has a saucepan pot, and she's got several of them. Now, our son-in-law Eric has become a fan of gathering up Magnolite.
Oh, is that right?
And he will give Martha Magnolites for birthdays and Christmas.
I knew I should have been nicer to him. Dang it.
Yes.
Eric, I'm sorry, my friend.
You give him
I have a brother who's nonverbal.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how it happened, but there's several words that I can never use without and I'm sorry is one of them. Mm-hmm. And that's just, it never fails. I'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry. And they're like, whoa, what did you just do with your
American
hand?
Sign Language?
I said, it's ASL. It's American Sign Language. Boomer, number one way to tell you're at a Cajun wedding?
Open bar.
Well, that too. Okay. Number two way to tell you're at a Cajun wedding?
They have communion during the wedding.
Sprite and sherbet.
Sprite and sherbet.
or lime sherbet and 7-Up. Yeah. Man, look, and no one ever had to be told to bring that to a wedding. Yeah. It somehow just shows up.
Yeah.
Every Cajun wedding you've ever been to has lime sherbet and 7-Up at some point.
Yeah, you're right. Well, back in the day.
But
anyway.
That was my favorite too. When my first wife and I got married, they were talking about the groom's cake. And I was like, look, I don't care what you do with the groom's cake. Just don't make it chocolate. I don't eat chocolate cake, which up to that point in my life, that's all I'd ever seen the groom's cake.
Yeah.
They'd all been chocolate. And I'm like, don't do chocolate.
Well, that one was still Magnolias though.
That was red velvet, which is still chocolate. And But I'm like, I don't care what you do, just don't make it chocolate. And then I had a Bible verse I wanted on the groom's cake. And so I was like, I don't care what y'all do there. I don't care what you do anything with the reception, except somebody better bring some of that sherbet punch. That's the only thing I required of the entire wedding.
And most of the time it was Shasta. You know, it wasn't a big 2-liter Sprite. It was off-brand something or another.
Yeah, I would say it was whatever they had down there under
Food Club,
the Hoggly Woggly or the Piggly Wiggly. Still one of the funniest things my ex-wife ever said to me. I had a Piggly Wiggly store that was right there in the town where I had a radio station, and they were a huge advertiser.
Yeah,
and grocery stores are not known for being big radio advertisers, but we did a good job. Excuse me, we did a good job for this guy. And he spent a lot of money with us. So one day she was like, hey, we need to get some groceries. And do you want to go to Nacogdoches? Just go to Walmart. And I was like,
oh, heavens, no.
No. I said, we're going to go down here to Piggly Wiggly. And she's like, I don't want to go to the Piggly Wiggly. And I said, yeah, well, Walmart doesn't pay any of our bills. That Piggly Wiggly's paying a whole bunch of them. And, they're back when my paychecks were bouncing. So anybody who was paying, I'm all about them. Mm-hmm. And she said, all they ever have is that Piggly Wiggly brand. So from that day forward, even to this moment right now, knockoff brand to me
is Piggly
Wiggly brand.
Yeah.
So,
and to me, it's Food Club.
Yeah, Food Club. Yeah.
Yep.
Techois.
Still don't know.
Shut up.
Okay.
Basically. Film tes bouche.
Something about your mouth.
Film tes bouche. Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
So, but it's not an ugly way. So someone says, oh yeah, man, I got this new truck. Fais-toi.
Yeah. Don't say like you didn't. Oh, you did.
Really? Yeah. Film tes bouche. Shut your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And,
now we say, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't. That's what Boomer says to me all the time. No, you didn't. No,
yes,
that didn't
I
happen.
did. In fact, I did.
So,
in fact, I did.
In fact, as a matter of fact, I did. But, Boomer, I feel like a hypocrite every time I make gumbo or etouffee at my house because I didn't start off with a Magnolite.
Because if you see someone doing a demonstration on YouTube or Facebook or whatever,
first you got to make a roux.
First, you got to make. And I want to tell you, over the years now, that there's some ladies in New Iberia that make it and put it in a quart jar,
and let me tell you
can't make it any
you
better.
Can't make
than
it any better.
So
and
just use that.
That's my thing. Is if I can't make it any better than they do, for years I made my own cornbread. I just from scratch. I mean, probably for 10 years, and then one day I was like, you know what? I can't make it any better than Jiffy does. That Jiffy cornbread's about the best stuff you can buy, right? Yeah. Now, don't give me that yellow packet. That cornbread's nasty. I'll just make my own. But if you can get me a box of Jiffy for 59 cents, I'll just use the Jiffy.
And the jalapeno cornbread that Martha makes all the time now, I like that one.
I have never in my life eaten better gumbo than what Martha Berrios made me.
Well, when we first got married, I started making it. And she says, I think I can do this better. I said, well, didn't get after it.
That North Louisiana girl.
Then she did.
Yeah.
But here's Martha can make a gallon of gumbo and it'll cost over $100.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's going to put crab meat and shrimp and crawfish. And
gold bouillon.
Yeah, bouillon. Some gold leaves. No. But it's going to be $100.
Yeah. She made me a pot of gumbo. I think it was when Aubrey was born. The princess was born. She made me a thing of gumbo, and I called Micah, and I said, "Hey, you want to come over for supper?" And she's like, "Yeah, what do we have?" And I said, "Miss Martha made some gumbo. I'll be right there." Everybody in my house knows if Miss Martha makes gumbo.
That's what a guy Howard that I told you figured out he could fly. He said, "I'm gonna fly there just to get some gumbo."
Yeah,
but so I was down at one of your sponsors, Davis Farms, and when they first got in, their good melons, not the Pecos melons, but the
Black Diamonds.
Black Diamonds, thank you. So I said, y'all serving lunch now. What do y'all serve? And the lady said, well, we serve sandwiches every day, and then we serve gumbo. I said, who in here knows how to cook gumbo? And she goes, well, she does. And I said, where are you from in Louisiana? She goes, Marksville. I said, oh, you're a Cajun. I said, you can have, but you're not, quite as Cajun as I am. I said, because I grew up in Morgan City. She says, oh, well, yeah. But Marksville is very Cajun also. But it's the brother. She's married to the brother.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I said, well, yeah, I'm going to have to come eat some of your gumbo.
I've not had their gumbo yet.
Yeah.
But I've not had anything out there that's disappointed me. And look, you don't get to be this size.
Yeah,
by being picky about food.
Yeah.
But I am very picky about food.
Well, and Sandy and I have always said if we're going to maintain this overweight condition, we're going to have to eat.
Got to eat. Yeah. I can't maintain this physique by not eating.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if they're a sponsor or just a food sponsor, but your neighbors next door, every time that we've had a podcast, I've eaten some of their food, and it is good.
Oh, Barefoot Bistro?
Barefoot Bistro.
Yeah, so they are a sponsor. They are our official Feed the Boomer sponsor.
Well, that's what I meant. Yeah. I knew it was a food sponsor.
And but I've not had a bad thing from there yet.
And you said if I'd come on time, I'd get it hot, but I ate half of a half. That'd be if it's a quarter of a sandwich.
Carry the shoes off.
Yeah. And it was real good.
Yeah.
It was just a club.
Yeah.
Real good club.
That there's another sandwich over there. And I don't remember what you called it, a train car or something. I don't know.
Well, last week I ate one that chicken sandwich was real good.
So I've not had a bad thing there yet. The kids and I, we went to Showdown at Sunset.
Mm-hmm.
I am ashamed to admit
that was your first time?
That I have lived in El Dorado, Arkansas for 24 years. And that was my first time to ever go to Showdown at Sunset. Yeah. I tried to go once before, but we showed up late. And they
were all dead.
They were all dead by the time we got there. I don't know what Showdown at Sunset.
Elizabeth. I get one every now and then.
I don't know what Showdown at Sunsets looked like in the past.
Yeah.
But this one we went to, it was really good.
Well acted.
It was very well acted. The young lady who had the big singing parts, she was fabulous.
I haven't seen one in quite a few years.
It was good.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really good.
And Steve Harrell did that some too.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah. The thespian he was.
Yeah. Keith Owens is in there, and they have some professionally trained people in there. You can tell. I mean,
professionally trained actors.
Yeah. It was like the time you and I worked with a guy, and I'm not going to say his name, but he went by Diamond, and this guy's brother was supposedly trying to date Sergeant Cal's daughter. Anyway, he had fancied himself as an actor, and he was going to act in this play in Annie at the Art Center. And he was going for the part of Rooster. And when he got his part, I was like, you didn't get Rooster? He said, dude, there was no chance. He said, the guy that's trying out, he said, this guy's like Broadway caliber. And he said, he's classically trained. Mm-hmm. And so when I went to see Annie, everything, I was like, oh, dear Lord, yes. I mean, this guy didn't take a step on the stage. He slid to every position. And it's just everything. I mean, it was like, here's the rest of the actors, and they were all pretty good, right? I mean, even Diamond was pretty good. But this guy was at this level. I mean, he was up here.
They called in a ringer.
Yeah, this guy. And so then Cam was in Wizard of Oz when he was in school, and he was the Scarecrow, which is the main male part, right? And so then years later, they said, hey, we want to do a reprise of that play that y'all did, and we want y'all to play your parts. And then Cam's like, I'm not the Scarecrow. And I'm like, what? You were scared? I mean, how do you not? You're supposed to play your part. He said, yeah, well. He said, the guy that's playing the Scarecrow, you'll see. And he was right. I mean, that dude, voice like you wouldn't believe, every octave known to mankind he could hit. And it was out of this world. And it's like, that's one of the things I love about El Dorado. Where can you go and see that level of talent? For a $5 ticket.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't happen.
So to this day, I still have nightmares about when I was at Louisiana Tech, we did Oklahoma, the Music Man, the Fantastics, and a funny thing happened on the way to the Forum. And I didn't have any major part in any of them because I'm not a very good actor. But my recurring nightmare that I have is that I'm on stage and I can't remember the lines.
Yeah.
Because I have, I'd have 3 or 4 lines and something, and then I'd drop one, you know. And then I did I did opera workshop just because of my major. You know, I had to do some opera stuff, and we would do little snippets of operas. And you know, there's one called the Magic Flute, and the guy he has a panpipe, and he catches birds, and so the whole crux of the song was that he had to explain that, and then he would blow the flute. Well, then I just dropped the lines of the explanation of it, and so I'm blowing, and it didn't make any sense. And so the little lady, that her name was Dr. Shuan Yang, and she goes, "Good try, good try." That was my last foray into opera workshop. She goes, "Good try."
You know, funny talking about Louisiana Tech and teachers and professors. Both Cam and Micah graduated from Louisiana Tech. Do you know who their favorite professor was? Dr. Sanford.
Dr. Sanford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was, I know she taught some level of history.
Yeah.
But I think she also taught human geography.
Okay.
And Cam ate that class up. I think Cam was a freshman, and it's a 400 series class. It was a senior level class.
Yeah.
And she even told him, she said, had I not had your sister and know how smart she is, I probably wouldn't have let you in this class. Yeah. But knowing who your sister is, you're welcome to come in.
So my brother and sister both predecessed pre whatever you call it at Morgan City High School, and we all had the same from 62 to 74. We all had the same English teacher in English 1, you know, freshman English. So she's calling the roll, and I'm in the back of the room. I'm on the last chair with my head up against the wall, and she gets to my name. She goes, "Barrios." She says, "Where are you?" I said, "Right here." She said, "Is your brother Melvin Barrios?" Now, this is 72, and Melvin graduated in 62. "Is your brother Melvin Barrios?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." "Is your sister Patricia Barrios?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She goes, "You come sit right up here in front of my desk."
Yep.
In my whole freshman year, I had to sit right in front of her desk. And it wasn't because they were bad. It was because they were good. And
didn't want them being corrupted.
She didn't want me to be corrupted or whatever. But in college, I had I can't remember his name, and it obviously wasn't Sanford, you know, because it was a different generation when I was there. But the best teacher that I ever had in any grade was a history teacher, and he told it like a story.
That's the best.
He used no notes. And he would, whoever was sitting on the first row, he would say, "Show me your notes where we left off." And then he would say, "All right, so now at this time," you know, and he told it like a story. And if you took the notes and wrote down, you know, just made you an outline of what he said, brother, you had it. And so one day he said, "Tell you what," he started out, he said, "Tell you what," he said, "just put your books up, put your notebooks up." He said, "Let's have a little test." And this girl over across from me on the front row says, she goes, "Oh, Lord, you didn't say nothing about a test." He said, "It's just going to be a little short one. It's just a little short one over what we discussed last time." She looked at me, she goes, "Oh, Lord, I need a drink."
That's great.
I said, "Well, maybe not right now."
You know, the best teachers, well, especially when it comes to history, because it's not like math where you're having to learn a formula.
Yeah, it's a story.
Yeah, it's a story.
Yeah.
And so my 11th grade history teacher was a gentleman by the name of Matt Loftus. And that's how he taught. Mm-hmm. And it was so fun to me. I already loved history, but I fell in love with it even more in his class because of the way he taught it. And I'll never forget, there was I say I'll never forget, but I can't remember some names. There was an expedition that was going through Colorado area, and they got stranded in the Rocky Mountains, and they turned to cannibalism.
Okay.
I want to say his name was Albert Packard, and they turned to cannibalism.
Yeah.
And he ends up being the only one who survives. Well, he ends up being brought up on charges for it. And Mr. Loftus is telling us this story, and he said, "Now you have to remember at this time, blah, blah, blah." And he said, so he goes before the judge, and the judge says, "Albert Packard, you son bitch, they wasn't but 7 Republicans in the entire territory of Colorado, and you ate 6 of them."
What a great story.
Yeah. And just you will remember stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there was this one time we were having a test and I missed that day of his class. And I get to class the next day and he says, Sanford, come here. Where were you yesterday? I said, I was out. He said, I know you were out. What were you doing? Don't lie to me because I already know the answer.
Fishing.
I said, Mr. Loftus, I was fishing. He said, I know. You know how I know? He said, that lake your daddy bought that lake house on, my mama lives there. And she told me.
Them boys out there fishing yesterday.
She said, one of them boys I think is one of your students because he had seen me there before. I said, yeah, that's one of my students. She said, one of them boys I think is your student's been out here fishing all day. And he said, so I knew where you were. And he said, and you missed a test yesterday. I shouldn't let you make it up. And he said, but I tell you what I'll do. Because I was just in regular classes. He said, if you'll take the AP test over this same thing, I'll give you that grade, whatever you get. Okay, I can do that. Well, the AP test included a whole lot of geography. And the map was right there on the wall next to my desk. So I'm like, Oklahoma,
Kansas,
Louisiana. And I did. He's like, see, he said, this is what pisses me off about you, Sanford. You should be in AP classes, and you're not. I said, I can't get out half a day to go to work. He's like, why are you so worried about work? What he and no one else at school understood except one teacher. I had shared it with one teacher. I didn't share it with anyone else. Was I was on my own. I was living on my own. Daddy had left and moved back between my sophomore year and my junior year. Daddy had left and moved back to Houston for work.
And you was with Grandpa?
No, I was by myself in that lake house that Daddy owned.
How old?
15, going on 16.
And how'd you get to school? You had a car?
I had a truck, yeah. And so I was on my own. And here's what Daddy said. If I'm not here, the light bill at this place is about $50. I'll pay $50 a month. I'm not paying any more than that. So if you want to stay here, that's fine. But you're going to pay the light bill. You're going to buy your own groceries. And I learned very early on how much it costs to live on my own. And I wanted to live on my own. Not because I wanted to throw a party. I never threw a party. None of that. But I just felt like I needed to live on my own. Now, a couple nights a week, I would go over to my grandparents' house and eat supper with them. But most of the time, I was just on my own. And so Mr. Loftus was like, man, quit worrying about work so much and you need to focus in. I never once told him.
Tell him.
I didn't tell him. Like I said, my entire high school career, there was only one teacher I ever told. And she swore, and to this day, she's never said a word about it.
Well, had you told some people, they would have stepped in.
But I would, yeah, that's exactly right. And my whole thing was I didn't need CPS showing up.
Yeah.
You know, I was fine. I was fine. The only time I ever felt like I wasn't fine was a tornado came through and actually blew a tree over and landed on the house. Now, when I'm hearing it, it's somewhere nearby because I can hear that. I can hear it. I look outside and there were 4 big pine trees in the front yard. And I was fine when they were all blowing the same direction, but when they started hitting each other, because the wind was pushing from different directions,
swirling.
I jumped in my truck and I took off. And I tried to get out the normal way, and there was a tree across the road. So I turned around. I go back through St. Augustine County, and there's a state trooper has the road blocked off. And he was like, hey, come get in my car. And so I went and got in with him, and we watched the top of a barn go across the highway. And the next day I went back home and there's a tree across the house. And so I didn't have a phone because I couldn't afford one of them, you know. So I drive the 14, 15 miles back to my grandparents. I called Daddy and told him. And he filed an insurance claim, and the insurance company originally denied the claim. Said that tree was dead.
Yeah, because if it's a dead tree, it doesn't count.
So here was the brilliant part of it. One of my cousins had just gotten a brand new VHS camcorder, and he wanted to come over and use it to take pictures. And so we actually had the VHS tape of that tree. It was green as could be. It was springtime, and it's green with leaves everywhere. So that's the tree you think is dead, the one with the green leaves on it, you know? And Daddy ended up having to sue them. and we had to go. It was funny. We had to go to a deposition, and the attorney for the insurance company is questioning me at one point, and he's like, "So you can tell when a tree's dead and when it's not?" I said, "Oh, I don't know about that. I just know that one was alive." And he's like, "How would you know?" I said, "The green leaves. That was the first clue." And he said, "So you're a tree expert?" And I said, "I never said I was an expert." I said, "However, I did score number 1 in the state of Texas in forestry competition last year." I said, "I did. That was me. Number 1 in the entire state. That was me. I scored that." And he's like, "I don't have any further questions."
No kidding.
And Daddy's lawyer was like, "I got some. Hang on." Yeah. So this forestry competition. So
all of a sudden you're an expert witness.
Yeah. So after that deposition was over, they had the first settlement they offered, was like $700. Might as well just spit on the man, and because even then, and this would have been like 1988, even then it was going to cost like $2,300 minimum, because we had a busted ridge row and, decking and all that. And they come back and they made him a settlement offer for like $3,400 plus attorney's fees. And Daddy's lawyer said, he poked me on the shoulder and he was like, he said, "You killed him in there." He said, "I'm smart enough to know when I start asking questions I don't know the answer to, be prepared to have my ass handed to me." And he said he didn't figure that out. He said, "Not until you told him you were number 1 in the state in forestry competition."
Yeah. What does a kid know?
Yeah. I'm 15, 16-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And, but
that is that, if a dead tree falls on your roof in insurance, it's your responsibility because you had a maintenance issue that you should have taken that tree down.
Yeah. Now, remember this. Not one insurance adjuster in the history of ever has been fired for refusing to write a check.
Yeah.
Not one.
Mm-hmm.
That's their job.
Yeah.
And, I told you the story about when
the roof guy.
Yeah. I was an Allstate customer for 20 years, and Keith Jackson was my agent. And as long as Keith was my agent, I was fine. Mm-hmm. I wasn't crazy about Allstate, but as long as Keith was my agent, I was okay. And, we had a hailstorm come through. I'm watching it. I'm watching the hail bounce off the house and bounce off Casey's truck. And so I make a claim, and this guy shows up at my house, and I've got the ladder out. We climb up on there, and we're up there literally 45 seconds. And he's like, "I don't see any hail damage." And I was like, "Hold on." I said, "You see this whirlybird right here?" He said, "Yeah, I stopped it." I said, "You mean to tell me all these dents on top, that's not from hail?" "Well, I mean, I can get you one of those, but that won't cover your deductible." And I was like, "You know what? Get off my roof." "Oh, Mr. Sanford." I said, No, Mr. Sanford's ass. Get off my roof." "Well, there's an appeal. I know there's an appeals process, and this is the last time I'm going to tell you, get off my roof before I remove you from my roof." So he scuttles right on down and he leaves. I drove straight to Keith Jackson's office. And I said, "Here's what happened." And Keith said, "Well, he's right there." I said, "I know there's an appeals process." He said, "I'm going to file the appeal for you." I got a call a couple days later, and there's a guy who's like, "Hey, I'm an independent adjuster. Here's what I know. You filed a claim. It's been denied. I've not seen pictures, nothing. I'm coming to look at it fresh." And I was like, "Okay, can I come Sunday?" And I was like, "Yeah." So he shows up Sunday. We get up there on the roof. We're walking around. He said, "Man, I don't know what the hell he was looking at. This roof is tore up by hail damage." And he said, "There's no sense in both of us baking up here." He said, "Give me an hour or so and I'll have you a check." I was like, "Okay." So I go back in the house, and about an hour later, he knocks on the door and he's like, "So here's what I found." He details it all out, and he said, "Here's your check minus your deductible." Well, it cost me $7,301 to get that roof replaced. He wrote me a check for $7,501. And so like $200.
So it covered your deductible.
It covered my deductible and everything. And so but I know how the game's played. I dealt with this every day, and so there's never been an adjuster who's going to get in trouble for not writing a check.
Yeah.
We're dealing with this right now. My son Cam had an accident last week.
Saw that.
It was not his fault, and which is a good thing. But when we now have State Farm, Jason Hardy. You're welcome, Jason. So, yeah. Boomer's getting mad about this whole thing right now.
I'm good.
But Jason Hardy's our agent, and I'll tell you why. Because I watched over the 8.5 years that I dealt with insurance companies every day, I watched who I felt like treated their customers the best, and State Farm was by far and away number one. USAA is not bad, but it's how they treat the vendors that I didn't care for. State Farm's great. I loved them. But anyway, so when all this happened last weekend, Cam was like, what are we going to do? I said, we're filing on State Farm. I know it's not your fault, and we'll let them subrogate that. I said, but my worst nightmare is those people have Geico or Progressive or, God forbid, Allstate. And I said, so we're going to file on State Farm. We'll let State Farm and them fight it out. And that's what I told the guy from State Farm. I was like, look, I don't know who these people have. Well, we found out today they got that lizard.
Do they really?
Yeah, they got Geico. And I was like, and I texted Cam and I was like, and this is why we filed with State Farm.
Yeah.
Because, you know, just it's our company. They're going to treat us better than anyone else is going to.
Yeah.
And again, your insurance company is not going to be nearly as hard on you when they know we're going to get this money back from someone else, you know, and it's not our fault. So, unfortunately for him, his vehicle's a total.
Oh.
And, you know, he told me, he said, Dad, he said, I've now owned 2 new vehicles. And he said, both of them have lasted 18 months before I totaled them.
Oh.
And the first one was one Saturday, he was at Tech and he was going to come home. I was cooking supper that night. So he's going to come home and eat supper with us. And he hits a deer and he calls me and says, Dad, I just hit a deer. And, I was like, okay. I said, are you okay? He said, I'm fine. I said, all right, Cam, do me a favor. Get out of the middle of the highway. And he's like, how do you know I'm in the, I said, son, I've known you your entire life. You're sitting right where you stopped when you hit the deer. He's like, I am. I said, get out of the middle of the road. So he pulls to the side.
Dear Lord.
And had it towed in. And sure enough, it totaled his little car. And Casey and I had bought it for him new when he graduated high school. The day he graduated high school, we bought it for him. And it lasted 18 months. Then we got him a used vehicle. And he drove it till the wheels nearly fell off of it. I mean, I think when he got it, it had 30-something thousand miles on it. I think when we got rid of it, it had like 230,000 on it. It was a lot. And incidentally, it reminds me, I've still yet to be paid for that vehicle. I sold to a young man here in town who was like, man, I got to go work an oil rig out in West Texas and I'm going to pay you as soon as I get back.
He ain't back yet?
He's back.
Oh.
He been back.
Oh.
It reminds me, I need to make that phone call.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I need to go down to the courthouse maybe and file something. Anyway, Cam, he first time ever, he went and got a loan in his own name. Yeah. Got him a Honda CRV. Loved his little CRV. It was a good little car too. And an immaculate. Of course, Cam, he keeps everything he has in immaculate condition. And now it's been, bless his heart, when he called me, I was in Junction, and I was surprised that the call even came through because where I was, I normally can get calls. And he's like, Dad, I've had an accident. I said, are you okay? I don't know. That's all he had to say. And so I'm like, where are you? He told me, and I jumped in the truck and I hightail it to town. I pull up and there are ambulances everywhere. I mean, ambulances, fire trucks. I'm like, oh dear Lord. I get out and check on my kid. He's fine. And producer Elizabeth was there. And she's checking on him too, you know, and I walk over to look at his car. Well, he got hit in the driver's side, which I guess driver's side front fender. That's where he got hit. But tell me why the passenger front door was crumpled. And I happen to know. That means the entire unibody is shifted.
Yeah.
You know,
or it bent the frame too.
Well, those vehicles don't have frames. They just have unibodies.
Okay.
And so the whole unibody has shifted. And I'm like, it'll never make it. Yeah. You know, it's not going to make the cut.
It won't track.
Yeah. That vehicle will never be fixed. In Arkansas, state law is once the vehicle's repair cost equals 70% or greater of what the vehicle's value is, it becomes a total loss. And boy, there would be people who'd be so mad. And I say, hey, that's really to protect you.
Yeah.
You know, because if a vehicle requires that much repair, it's never going to be right.
Yeah.
You know, so it certainly
they wanted
appears
to keep that vehicle. People would be mad because they wanted to.
Yeah. There was, and a lot of, unless the vehicle's totally unsafe, some insurance companies let you buy it back. Yeah. But used to, you could buy one for, say, 10% of what the value. So let's say your vehicle totals, it was worth $15,000 and it was going to cost $15,000 to repair it. And they say, hey, it's a total. And they'd say, we'll send you a check for $15,000, or you can buy this vehicle back for $1,500 and we'll send you a check for $13,500. And there'd be people who would do that. I never recommend doing that. There's a reason it's a total. You should leave it alone.
Hey, let's take a break. Can we take a break?
We can.
Yeah.
We can. We can take a break. And we come back, we'll talk about some stuff that's going on around the area.
Okay.
And we'll do that. That's all coming up right after this on Off the Back Porch.
With a name you trust, you can count on us. Glen Mechanical, plumbing, heating, and air.
For over 6 decades, Glen Mechanical has been specializing in HVAC, plumbing, and all mechanical jobs. 3 generations family-owned and operated since 1956. Glen Mechanical's business is based on relationships. They support and give back to the communities they work in. Contact them for all of your HVAC, plumbing, and mechanical needs. GlenMechanical.com.
Experience, courage, common sense. All of these are traits we want in any elected position, but especially in the man we will pick as our next sheriff. Michael Fife hasn't just been in law enforcement for 30 plus years. He's the one who answers the call in the middle of the night, putting himself last and Union County first, looking folks in the eye, doing what's right, standing up for all of us. Vote for Michael Fife for Union County Sheriff.
For 50 years, one name has kept South Arkansas rolling strong: Smackover Motors. From brand new rides to dependable pre-owned vehicles and hard-working fleets, Smackover Motors has helped generations find the perfect fit for the road ahead. And long after the sale, their expert service department keeps you moving with trusted care, honest work, and hometown service you can count on. 50 years of keys, miles, handshakes, and community. Smackover Motors, driven by service, powered by trust since 1976.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer and on the big couch.
Sometimes Jack's on the big couch.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Quit giving Jack so much credit.
Okay.
His head's getting big.
Is it really?
Yeah.
He is a kind of a big head kind of guy.
Well, just because, 90% of all these sponsors we have, he sold. Because Jax makes all the money that we have.
Nobody told him he couldn't go out and do that, so he just did it.
So he just did it. Yeah. He's done great, man. I got to tell you, Boomer, it's he told me, he said, Dad, I'm used to talking to people. I'm used to sales. He said, I've never sold media. And I said, let me give you a hint. And I just told him, I said, find a need and meet it. Customer needs analysis. It's the most important thing you do. Yeah. And he's done that, and he has absolutely excelled at this job, and he's going to be coming in. Actually, he's been working part-time, and he's actually coming full-time in the near future.
All right.
So we're excited about that. It's needed. We need him, and we're excited about where that's going to lead. And I told a guy yesterday, I was like, look, 19 months in, I didn't expect that we would have any employees, to have any is a miracle. Mm-hmm. And I said, I sure didn't expect us to be in our own place. Yeah. And here we are.
Well, I mean, and here's the deal about selling a bunch of sponsors. You don't just do that once.
No,
you have to go back and
you got to
work
take care
with
of them
and take care of them. And yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. And I'll say this, and he's here, and one of the hardest things in the world. Right over there. No, I'm talking about JW.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Jack still.
No, I'll say this, and it's one of the hardest things in the world to sit by while people compliment you. But JW makes our jobs way easier. And by that, I mean...
What's he do for me?
Well, nothing for you, because you're not important.
Okay, thank you.
To him. You're important to me, Boomer. Isn't that enough?
I guess.
I guess.
I just like being liked.
You are liked.
I just want people to like me.
People do like you. You is smart.
You is kind.
You is kind.
You is intelligent.
Yeah. No, JW, he has a stable of clients that he handles a lot of their social media.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if you're struggling social media wise, give us a call. We'll be glad to help you. But JW has clients that he's helping, and a lot of times their marketing efforts via their social media, we use those same marketing efforts in digital. Imagine that. All your marketing working together, pulling on the same side of the rope. Who would have thought?
Yeah, really.
But JW makes our life easier, and he's done a great job.
He just does that, right? Yeah, he just does that.
That right there, yeah. And you know, while I'm pinning flowers, I'll go ahead and tell you, producer Elizabeth, she's awesome. You know, first of all, she has Southern Sath's image and design.
Yeah.
And they are the official photographers for South Arkansas Now and southarkansasnow.com.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, if you come into our office, you see all these great photos hanging around the walls. Yeah, that was
hers.
That was hers.
Mm-hmm.
That was she, and Southern Sass doing that.
What is, you know, my view is the Rand McNally map.
Yes,
up there, the radial map of the United States.
Yeah.
So it's not set up really in states, is it?
No, it's
listening areas or whatever.
Well, yeah, basically. But that map
is that old?
It's very, very old,
Okay.
and it's from like the 40s, and
Okay.
that's radio stations that were on the air at that time.
Because Louisiana says Delta,
yeah,
and Texas says Gulf,
yeah,
and I can't. Yeah, I'm gonna feel like I'm doing an eye test now. I can't read Mississippi and Florida's
East Gulf.
East Gulf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah. Anyway, squirrel. You talk about pictures, so that's what I see.
But you know, we've been very fortunate. We've been very, very blessed to be where we are, and you know, only bigger and better things coming. We've got great announcements coming up in the future that, you know, and it's contrary to the fiber of my being to keep secrets. I don't have any.
But now you do.
But now I do. And, you know, when my wife and when we started dating, I told her, I said, here's a couple things you need to know about me. I don't have any secrets. If there's a question you have, you just have to ask me. But you can't be mad at the answer. You know, I will tell you, I will not lie to you. I said, but don't ask anything you don't really want to know the answer to.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been some things she's asked me, and I've told her, she's like, wow. And I was like, it is what it is.
You know, you have to learn how to answer like this. They ask you a hard question. You go, oh, honey. No, here's one. Do you like this dress? Oh, honey. Why would you even ask that?
Yeah, because I don't know the difference between that one and the last four you had on.
No. Just, you know, or if she says, does my butt look big in this dress?
Never.
Oh, baby. Oh, what? No.
Never.
Just don't answer.
Well, I mean, I'm honest. Never.
Don't be honest. Don't be honest.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Tell her never. No, there's no way your butt looks big in that. I've never seen her anything makes her butt look big.
Okay.
Matter of fact, there's stuff she'll be like, I hate the way this looks. And I'm like, I don't know why. You look stunning. Let me tell you a little something. We were at an event one night, and I walk over to her. She's dealing with some other people, talking to them. And I just lean up behind her and I whisper, what does it feel like? And she's like, what does what feel like? I said, to know that no matter what else happens tonight, you're the most beautiful woman in this room.
You scored points on that one.
And that's how we ended up with Nolan.
Yeah.
That's not true.
That's not true.
That part's not.
But y'all did wind up with Nolan.
We did wind up with Nolan.
Maybe not because you said that.
Yeah, not because I said that. So, Boom, we got some stuff coming up, and
Okay.
it's really cool.
All right.
June 30th, the Hugh Goodwin Patriotic Showcase is going to be going on at the Union County Courthouse. Midday that day. And now, you asked me last week, what does midday mean? Well, I have now found out. 12 noon.
12 noon is midday.
12 noon, there's going to be a military flyover, and they're going to fly right over. A C-130 is going to fly right over Northwest Avenue at 500 feet.
Hush!
You're going to feel like you can touch this thing.
That is low.
Northwest Avenue, 500 feet. I can't wait. That's going to be so cool.
At noon.
At noon,
Well,
yes.
Okay, go ahead.
That same day, June 30th, the Student Patriotic Showcase is going on at South Arkansas Arts Center at 5:30. And then July 2nd is the Stars and Stripes Parade downtown El Dorado. They're going to start over here on Wesson, and they're going to end up over at MAD.
Okay.
And, of course, that night at about 8:40-ish,
It's the fireworks.
Well, no, at 8:40ish that night is going to be the Red Bull parachutists are going to fly in and drop down into the Mad Amp.
Into the amp there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at 9:00, the Murphy USA drone show, like 170 something drones are going to do a drone show. And they want a good turnout for that because they say if we get a good turnout, that means people like it and we'll get them back more and more.
Yeah.
Because those drone shows can be freaking awesome.
Man, I saw one online, a drone show that was an eagle and it had fire shooting out of its wings.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I have seen it. Then you get July 3rd off. Got to have a day of rest,
Yeah.
right? But then on Saturday, July 4th, Farmers Market starts at 8 a.m. that morning in downtown. Then from 2 to 6 is the ice cream social at the Newton House.
Mm-hmm.
Then at 9:00, they have the fireworks display. And let me tell you about the fireworks display this year, Boomer.
Yeah.
The budget they had last year, which was the first year they brought it back in quite a while.
Uh-huh.
The budget they had last year, peanuts compared to the budget they have this year. Yes. They have more than doubled their budget for this year.
Yeah.
And, if you saw last year's, it was pretty freaking good.
Uh-huh.
And this year it's double. They're actually going to shoot the fireworks from the soccer fields. And my understanding is they're going to come out with some information about where to park and and all that. But I am stoked. And you know why? America,
Daddy.
America 250.
Well, you know what? I have it in my mind that I want to find a place that there won't be a traffic jam after it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the fairgrounds, there's a traffic jam.
Yeah. For years, you could go to the El Dorado Golf and Country Club and throw your blanket down and watch them there. Maybe that's an issue. Maybe that's still something that can be done. Also, for years, I could stand on my deck in my backyard and watch them. I don't think I can do that.
I got an idea where I want to go, but I don't want to say it.
Because everybody will show up.
Yeah.
You gonna tell me? You'll tell me after we get off?
I'll tell you after we get off.
We won't. Neither one of us remember to ask the other, but
no, I'll remember to tell you.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all coming up. That's going to be fantastic. I mean, that's just, to me, that's the kind of stuff we should be doing to celebrate the 250th anniversary of our independence. Hopefully, also that day, the U.S. plays England in the World Cup.
At Buc-ee's.
Yeah, Buc-ee's, yeah.
At the parking lot.
That would be even better.
At the parking lot.
Woo! Now, originally that game was scheduled, if it was to happen, would be happening in Houston. However, the World Cup has been lobbied now by the U.S. team. If that game happens, we need to play it in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I'm like, of course we do.
Of course. Yeah.
Of
and
course
ring
we
that
do.
Liberty Bell, baby.
You better believe it.
Yeah. I mean, not hard because it's, it's
because it'll crack.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What gets more America than that?
Exactly. That's America. Now, I heard that the whomever is doing all the flyovers, wherever it's coming from, the state of Arkansas is doing a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
They're in several cities.
So that C-130 is going to come here. It's also going to make its track around everywhere in Arkansas.
Okay.
And yeah, it's like 18 cities or something they're going to fly over. And that's so cool. I mean, that's
that
just
is way cool.
And I get it. No, I don't. I can understand where they're coming from, but all the Europeans just being scared to death of these flyovers.
Yeah, I like it.
It's like
anytime we have a state dinner, we got somebody from a foreign country, they ought to do a flyover
just to show them.
When they're walking.
Hey,
when they're walking outside,
could be y'all right now.
Huh?
This could be y'all right now.
Yeah.
Hear that rumble?
Yeah.
Next time you hear it, it may not be a good thing.
Oh man! Well, that's a lot of good stuff coming up.
I'll make some ugly tweets about it. Better be careful.
Yeah, better be careful. Watch me at midnight.
We talked about it last week. Do I wish they'd take his phone away after 11?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Go to sleep.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But the guy don't sleep evidently.
4 or 5 hours, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
he's 80.
He did that MMA fight at the White House, and then he flies to like Bangladesh or somewhere. I don't know where he went. He flew somewhere the next morning. Went to France. He was with Mitterrand, whatever the guy's name is. Mitterrand's the old guy.
Well, hey, by the way, did you see this last week that the Prime Minister of England has resigned?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he's lost.
Guess who didn't shed any tears over that? Bad Orange Man.
Yeah,
he didn't shed any tears.
Well, he said he's lost the confidence of his party.
Yeah,
yeah.
Wonder why. You think gas is high in America?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look what they're paying for it over there.
Yeah.
They sell it by the liter, by the way.
Yeah.
And it takes 3 of those to make a gallon. And it's like $7 a liter.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they're paying $20 a gallon.
That's
for gas.
Well, they don't have any.
Right.
So consequently, they need to bring it all in.
Yeah. I love it. Hey, drill, baby, drill.
They interviewed a guy out in West Texas on the news, and they were, and he's a wildcatter. I say a wildcatter. He's not an Exxon or anything, just a regular guy. And he says, had we had this crisis, and he named the year, he said oil would have gone up to $400 a barrel.
Oh, yeah.
Because we didn't have as much.
Right.
And he said it timed out right. And he says, when they say drill, baby, drill, he said, that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, now.
And it was like Roadrunner Drilling Company or
right.
something like that.
Yeah. It's.
Yeah.
And, if you talk to the big oil companies and say, well, the whole reason the gas is so high is because of speculators.
Yeah,
no, it's not.
No, it's
No, it's not. Because I'm going to tell you something. Those speculators, they cannot do enough to affect the market.
I was telling Martha that, when I lived in Oklahoma and worked for an oil company out of Oklahoma City, this company had one of the owners was a Hefner and was part of that Hefner family.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was
brother, cousin, whatever.
Yeah. And he was kind of metropolitan. He lived in, and he was a wildcatter of sorts and lived in Oklahoma City. And so we had investors from all over the world. They had investors from France and wherever, and he was pretty much in DC as a lobbyist most of the time, or in New York City or whatever. So the New Yorker decided they wanted to come to one of our rigs and bring a model out there, because it was the big oil boom, the gas boom, natural gas boom of the early 80s, late 70s. And so when we were watching this show today at noon on Fox, and they had those people out there, I said, I want to tell you, those roughnecks, I said, they are just dying because those people out there, because it's so funny to them.
Yeah.
To make such a big deal about what they do every day.
Every day.
But they brought this model from New York, and the New Yorker was going to take pictures of her coming down the steps of the rig.
Hard hat and all.
Yeah, and all this. Well, these guys were going, she's about as ugly as I've ever seen. She was scrawny and skinny and, just a twiggy looking, I've dated myself, a very slim looking model. And, they said, that's about as ugliest thing I was up on the rig floor. And any dog and pony show that company had, Troy was the one that was. So we'd have investors from all over the world, and I'd get in a van and drive them to these rigs. But that was the funniest thing when I saw that. I said, I grant you, those roughnecks are out there having a hilarious time about these reporters and all this being out there.
It's funny because what some people consider beautiful, you got to remember, when you're that close to Texas, say what you will, but Hank Jr. made an entire song about it. There's nothing like Texas women. And, they bring those supermodels in, like you said, they're 103 pounds soaking wet, and it's just like, nah. Give me a girl who would jump off of a live moving horse and tackle a calf and throw it over on his back and tie up 3 legs and throw her hands in. Give me that girl. When my wife and I started dating, we met at church, and my pastor was like, boy, that girl will hurt you. I was like, what do you mean? He said, she rides cows and stuff. He said, she jumps off of horses and tackles cows. And that's why she was called Cowgirl. Yeah. And, she barrel raced, she did all that stuff, but she rode bulls and all that. And, so it was funny. We were playing in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes golf tournament. But we were out there, and Casey and I were going on our second date that night after that tournament. And here's what our second date was. The Murphy Oil nighttime golf, Murphy USA nighttime golf tournament. And I was playing with Scott Reed and Kelly Gall. And she was going to tag along. And at one point, Coach Reed looks over at her and he looks back at me and says, "Hey, you know she's way out of your league." And I'm like, "Of course she is." He said, "You better get your head in the game, Coach."
Yeah,
that's what he told me. Scott Reed looks at me and said, "Get your head in the game, Coach."
Better get it straight. Better get it straight.
But that day she'd come out there to see us at the golf course at the FCA golf tournament. And when she got ready to leave, she just gave me a little peck on the cheek and she walked off. And she walked off and the pastor was like,
"What about me?"
What? No, he was just like, "What was that?" I said, "We went on a date a couple weeks ago." And I said, "We're going to go on another date tonight." He's like, "You're dating her?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Right there." He's like, "I never would have thought you'd pulled out." I was like, "What do you mean? I'm a handsome man."
Selling me short?
"I'm a handsome man." He's like, "Look, brother," you know that big voice said, "Brother, listen. Yeah, I guess you could be considered a handsome man, but that's another level."
Yeah.
And I like,
look at her.
Yeah, exactly.
You know my deal. Now look at her. Mm-hmm. Now look at you.
Now look at you.
Now look back at her.
Now look back at her. Then look back at you one more again. We'll see. Does that seem like it makes sense to you?
Hey, are the doors locked, by the way?
Here?
Yeah.
No.
Because I hear a lot of hollering outside going on. Well,
I got something right there.
I know we're strapped, but I got my back to the door.
Yeah, well, they won't get that far.
Yeah.
I promise you, they won't get
Producer Elizabeth done said so.
Yes, you figured.
That's what I love about having her around, because when something has to be taken care of, she just got it. She takes care of it.
All right.
Yeah. And, she's my neighbor, so it's the same way on our street.
Yeah.
If something needs to be taken care of, I'll be like, "Elizabeth, did you pay attention?" She's like, "I saw it.
Years ago, I had two different neighbors, and it was me and it was a single school teacher across the street, and then the wife next door, and we would meet out for the gossip of the street. And
oh, nice.
Martha would come out. She goes, "Were you and the girls outside again?"
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah."
Real Housewives of El Dorado, right?
We're talking about the gossip of the street or whatever, what's been going on or what we needed to watch out for. And that's y'all got that neighborhood thing going on.
So the lady, if you're standing in my front yard and the house is behind you, the lady that lives right here to this side of me, she's passed away now, God rest her. But the last few months she was alive, her mind really, it was longer than that. But her mind wasn't the same. And so one day, we were working in my front yard, and she walks over and she says, "Well, I'd like to welcome you to the neighborhood. I've only lived there for 20 years.
Yeah.
I'd like to welcome you to the neighborhood." "Oh,
thank you."
Well, thank you, Miss Adams. I appreciate that. And she's like, "Now, the people who lived here before, they were good neighbors." She looks around and she says, "But he went through a lot of wives." I was like, "Really? How many?" She said, 3 or 4. And so I called my wife. I called Casey. I'm like, "Which one are you?" And she's like, "What do you mean?" I told her what she said. And she's like, "Well, I'm the last one." I said, "You damn straight, you're the last one." There won't be another Mrs. Sanford.
No, that's it. This is it.
And she said, "So if you've had 3 or 4, I'm number 3 or number 4.
You know? Because that's it.
And I was like, "Well, I hadn't had, but
according to neighbors,
he went through a lot of wives.
He went through a lot.
But he was a good daddy and he was a good neighbor." And I was like, well,
good.
I hope I can live up to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you know what? She had me if she said I'm a good daddy, I didn't care what else she said. She could have said my yard looked like crap and it wouldn't have bothered me a bit.
You don't think she's talking about somebody that lived there before you, do you?
I don't think she can remember that far back. Again, I've been there 20 years. And, she came over one day to tell me about this neighbor who lives adjacent to her on a corner. And she's like, "You need to watch out. That guy, blah, blah, blah." And she's telling me this story. And I was like, "Oh, Miss Sally, I'm so sorry that happened." And she's like, "Yeah, it really unnerved me." And I was like, "Oh, I could understand, 10 minutes later, I'm out there loading up stuff in the back of my truck, weed eater and edger and leaf blower and putting the lawnmower on the trailer because I'm fixing to go somewhere else and mow. And she walks over and tells me the whole story again.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, yeah. So her daughter, she said, I'm so sorry. I said, it's fine. It's fine. She can tell me that same story 10 more times and it's fine by me.
Yeah.
They were great neighbors. She and the late Miss Adams and her husband, they were great neighbors. Always just had the most respect for them. And we live in a good neighborhood though. And if again, standing in my front yard, the lady who used to live next door to me on this side was Miss Dumas. And when she got ready to sell her house, she calls me. Now it's like 5:15 in the afternoon. Mr. Sandy, I am sorry to call you so late. It's fine, Miss Dumas. It's fine. She said, well, my kids say I have to move with them. So I'm going to sell my house. I was like, okay. But I want you to know, I will only sell it to a good neighbor. I'm like, oh, okay. She said, this is a good neighborhood. And other than a time or two, it's been a good neighborhood. All of a sudden, I'm kind of getting a picture of what she's trying to say. And she's like, so just so you know, when I sell this house, it'll be to a good neighbor. I was like, Miss Dumas, whomever you sell it to, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know, and wouldn't you know, the first thing she does, she sold it to a freaking 23-year-old, like gorgeous girl. And I was like, oh, And I'm out there mowing my yard one day and this little puppy runs up on me and I got the lawnmower. I stopped the lawnmower and all this. And the little puppy jumps right up in my arms. And I'm like, where did this dog come from? And all of a sudden, these 3 girls in 2-piece bikinis come out of this backyard. And they're all, like I said, they're all in their young 20s and like, pow, you know,
bouncing at you.
Really fit, you know. Oh, that's where my puppy went. Thank you. So sweet. So nice. And I was like, y'all just take the puppy and go back to your backyard with your $38 Walmart pool or whatever it is you got going on back there.
Yeah.
But, I was like one of my boys was like, Dad, have you seen the neighbor? I was like,
yeah, settle down.
And I said, let me tell you something, son. You don't look like that and be single. Not for long.
Yeah.
And sure enough, there was an old boy that was coming around mowing her yard, trimming the hedges. And all of a sudden, you know, and so he and I got to be pretty good buddies.
Yeah.
And then he and she end up getting married and she moves in with him. And then her husband's sister ends up moving in to the house and they've been my neighbors. And
well, and I don't know, I'm sure it was the Dumases, but when I was cutting your grass, I'd blown a bunch of clippings over there.
Yeah, now if it was Mr. Dumas,
across his yard, and I saw him, he was standing out there in the front yard and I just wouldn't look. And I went and I did the whole backyard, and I come out there and he said, he did something to motion me and I said, yes, sir. I shut my mower off. Said, yes, sir. He goes, well, you blew all this grass over here on my yard. I said, okay. He said, well, I just paid to get this cut. I said, well, okay, well, I'll come and blow it back off. And I was just, you know, I disarmed him real quick and he wanted an argument with me. And he kind of looked at me and goes, well, okay.
Yeah, he was not a good neighbor.
Yeah, he was not the good neighbor.
He was not. And yes,
a curmudgeon,
she said. Yeah. Yeah, he was not going to be happy no matter what.
Yeah,
and
got those.
You know, that was just who he was. But his wife, she was
Sweet
a
as she could
delight.
be.
Yeah, she was a delight. But we've got a good neighborhood. We've got good neighbors and hopefully it stays that way. That's my phone. It's just going crazy over here. Anyway, we've got good neighbors. Hopefully it stays that way. And as long as they'll leave Elizabeth and I in charge, it will be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We kind of have seniority. You know?
Got a HOA going on over there. And
I'm going to become an HOA Karen. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Start telling them that they can't.
Yeah.
You can't wash your car in the driveway.
Your trash can's 4 inches off of where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And it's picked up on Tuesday. You need to have them back to your house by Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah. Well, for us, it's Thursdays.
Yeah.
And, you know, so when my house was destroyed and we weren't living there, I had a Chevy Impala that had been the punks. It had been Micah's. And I had moved it because there's a big dumpster in my driveway. I moved it out curbside at the street. Elizabeth calls me one day and she said, "Hey, just so you know, city inspector's over at your house right now." I'm like, "For what?" She said, "I don't know. You just put one of them big pink tags on your car." I'm like, "Oh, dear God." So we had to like hook up 2 trucks to this dumpster and grind that thing down the driveway, getting it out of the way so that I could go back and take that Impala, which the battery was dead. So we have to get in there and get it in neutral and push this thing to the backyard and then drag the dumpster back and all because somebody decided they want to do their job that day. And that guy and I had already crossed paths a couple of times.
Yeah.
And never had it worked out in his favor up to that point.
Yeah. So he was looking for something.
Yeah, he was fishing for something already. That's all right. You know what? I got pretty thick skin.
Sometimes.
Most of the
Except
time.
for that guy that wrote that letter in. You told him
about dad jokes.
You told
his mom sucks. It's not my fault his mom sucks. Now the guy who wrote in that day about being a bad parent, you know, I will say that I may have, you know, let that affect me a little more than I should have. No, I didn't. I didn't let that affect me more than I should.
Okay.
That was
you go with that.
Yeah. That and Rachel Maddow. I don't care for either one of them. You know, I don't have a problem with Rachel Maddow. I really don't. You do you, boo. Whatever you need to do.
Whatever you think.
But my issue comes down to hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And that's what kills me.
Well, we still live in a society that is based on performance.
Yes.
And viewership. And if you take CNN or MS Now, you know, they don't have the viewership that others do, that more conservative, whatever they are. But it's because you're lying. You can't lie forever and get by with it. You know?
Well, you know, my thing is maybe you're telling a lie out of ignorance. I've lied out of ignorance because I truly believed that what I just said was true because that's what I believed. And then, but when you learn, you got to own that.
Yeah.
You know,
but they don't.
So when Rachel Maddow was telling us, you know, that, you know, just one injection.
You take the jab.
And the virus is going to cease. And it didn't. And so, but you got to get the booster.
Yeah.
Well, that's not one injection. So now we need a second. Oh, well, now you need a third booster because Omicron has come along. And then so on and so on. And then my favorite was when she was like,
it's not a vaccine. If you have to take more,
it's not a vaccine.
You know, when I took polio and whatever the little shot they give in your arm when you're in elementary school, I didn't ever get none of that.
You have a little scar on your arm?
You know, I did for a long time, but I guess I got fat enough to
I guess I was just out of the age range because I have a cousin, John, who's just a couple years older than me. He has the scar.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I never had to get whatever that was.
Well, it was a round shot about the size of a cigarette lighter.
And,
look
like a stepdad been burning you with cigarettes.
You had a little scar there.
Yeah.
And, you know, mine went away. I don't know.
Yeah. So, but my thing is when we learned better, you just got to own that. Hey, it's like me with Iraq. Okay. There were no weapons of mass destruction. Yeah. We were duped, or at least I was. I can't speak for everyone. At least I was duped.
Yeah.
And we've got to own that. Just like we have to own there was no Russian influence in 2016 election.
Yeah.
And we have to own that there was some irregularities that happened in 2020.
Yeah. But I mean, you're a denier or whatever.
Oh, misinformation.
Misinformation.
Tin hat conspiracist.
And I want to tell you, you know, you talking about, and we're getting political all of a sudden. You talking about
all of a sudden. Have you never watched this show before?
Destroying democracy. How can you say that your government, your administration, told the social media networks what could be said and what couldn't be said because that you named it, you said it was misinformation. Now, how is that not weaponizing the DOJ or whomever, the CIA or the FBI?
Yeah, I mean,
that's weaponization. And when
anytime
everybody that wants to know the truth already knows it. So
anytime the government tells the media what to do.
Yeah.
And you know, I said it last week, I'll say it again. I am one of the most dogged advocates of the Freedom of Information Act.
Yeah.
And I am one of the most dogged advocates of sunshine laws. I just feel like as the media, you cannot exclude us. And it's our duty to uphold those things.
Yeah.
I love the number of Europeans who are like, I'm moving to America.
They're in awe of.
Yeah, they went back to Europe and they're telling their friends and their family, they're like, we've been lied to. I mean, there was a it's Russian of some sort, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, one of the stands, former Slovakias of some sort. And he's like, I feel like I have been lied to my entire life. He said, all I've ever known of America is y'all are mean, y'all are hateful, y'all are vengeful. You claim freedom, but you keep your people so clamped down. He said, I have never felt as free as I did in America. And he showed videos of himself walking around Washington, D.C. And he said, I've never seen a city this beautiful. Washington, D.C.? And that's the most beautiful place. Let me introduce you to South Carolina. Let me introduce you to Georgia. Let me introduce you to some other places, you know.
Go to Roanoke, Virginia.
Right. I mean, have you been to Boston? You know, if DC's beautiful, and I've been to DC, and there are parts of DC that are absolutely beautiful. There are also parts of DC where
it's just the majesty of
yeah,
DC.
that's true.
Yeah.
But there are also parts of DC where if you blink twice real fast, you'd liable to end up dead.
or no wheels on your vehicle.
You're exactly right. But
Did you hear that they slit the liner at the reflecting pool?
Yeah, I saw that. I mean,
that's un-American. Just to prove that he didn't do what he said he was going to do.
You know,
they said, well, that was just, and news reported it like Trump was lying today, and they've arrested, I don't know how many that they found, because he said, we know who they are, and they arrested them.
Let me tell you what you don't do. Don't go to Washington, D.C. and screw around. Cameras, you worried about ATMs and Ring doorbells here in South Arkansas, those are minor. Because go to D.C. and every intersection you walk through has 9 cameras looking at everything. You can't sneeze in D.C. without somebody looking at a screen saying, bless you. I mean, you can't screw around in D.C. And, I love the whole, there's a guy we used to work with. Actually, his son worked with us as well. And his son's big liberal. And he's just talking all this smack online about, no, there's algae in the pool. Did you not realize there was algae in the pool beforehand? There was already.
That's why they cleaned it up.
That's why they cleaned it up.
And the algae's coming back out of the lines that filled it back up. Was where the algae was.
Yeah, it'll be gone in no time at all.
I mean, you could treat a pool for crying out loud. Come on, people.
I mean, it's just.
I'm telling you, we've said that, and you and I both wish we could reel him in.
Yeah.
And not be so braggadocious and
bombastic. Yeah.
Bombastic and all that. And just, the things that he's done or held back or created is good.
And time will make you out to be the hero.
But what I'm saying is that we are a great portion of our country hates him. Not only just
the Trump derangement syndrome
wish
is
we had
real.
a different president. They truly hate him. And that crazy guy in the Democratic prognosticator forgot his name, from Baton Rouge.
You talking about the one that's married to Mary Madeline?
Mary Madeline.
Yeah.
Good.
James Carville. Let me tell you something. Larry.
Yeah,
He talks to Larry King.
He's crazy.
Larry. Republicans are flying around giving cigarettes to children. That's what they're doing. They're going around all over America giving cigarettes to children. Joe Campbell's a Republican, and they're going around and giving cigarettes to children. He said that, by the way. He literally said that.
Deranged.
Listen, I've met James Carville. Fabulous guy. Absolutely fabulous guy.
That's all an act?
Yes, it's part of his shtick. It's absolutely part of his shtick. Now, let me tell you who don't pull any punches. Mary Madeline, his wife. He pulls that crap at home, and she yanks a knot in his tail quick.
Well, and you don't see her anymore.
Because you know why? Because the Republican Party has more than one spokesperson.
Yeah.
Who's the spokesperson of the Democrats right now? It can't be Hakeem Jeffries.
Well, Hakeem Jeffries just got his butt handed to him in New York yesterday.
Because that guy...
in the primaries, they elected all the socialists. Mondami supported all of, and they were asking. I mean, CNN was asking.
Hey, when Hakeem Jeffries looked like the conservative pick.
Yeah, and he was. Well, I was trying to explain it. He was doing sign language today, trying to talk his way out of that.
Yeah, well,
he says, well, the main ones in Congress are all together, you know, and he's using big words that I'm not using, and he's gesturing, but he was,
yeah,
they got whooped.
Yeah, and
they're adding to the gang is what they're going to do.
You know, so who is it? Who is it today? It's not Gavin Newsom, certainly. I mean, there's a guy that if he makes it through the primaries, will surprise me. Although the way they'd run their primaries, he very well could. You know, Bernie will actually get all the votes, but Newsom will end up with the nomination.
Kamala's going to run again.
Well, that doesn't suit her well.
She's not going to end well.
She's not going to end. It's not going to end well for her.
But it'll have to be an Obama that comes out of the woodworks that rises to the top that we don't know about.
Well, the problem is Bill Clinton was a conservative. Say what you will.
Yeah.
Again, we went through this before. Name me the last conservative president. You can go back. Biden, no. Trump's not a conservative. He's a populist. So the Republicans, as far as that goes,
the Bushes,
Romney, no. McCain, no. George W. Bush, absolutely not. Those last 2 years of his presidency, even the liberals were saying, "Hey, whoa," you know. So then before that, it's Bill Clinton. Crime reform, welfare reform, balanced budget. You know, you just name it off. I mean, that was the last conservative president we had. Now, like we talked about last week, I don't want to live in just a conservative agenda.
I don't either. We need to have a strong second party.
We definitely do. And I caught a lot of hell for that statement, incidentally, this week. People are like, I always knew you were a closet liberal. And no. Listen to me.
You don't get it. You need balance.
All the bad stuff they told us was going to happen if Clinton got elected, it didn't happen. All the bad stuff they told us was going to happen if Obama got elected, it didn't happen.
Checks and balances.
That's why we have three branches of government.
That's what we're after, and
you know,
and you can't pack it. You can't pack the Supreme Court. And
although ours is pretty packed right now, I mean, again,
I mean packed by adding more.
Well,
it's packed with
legally. You can, you know, there's nothing in the Constitution that says we have to have 9 justices, so they can go in and the next president can have 15, and he could nominate 6 of them or 7 of the most liberal, 6 or 7 most liberal people.
That has to go through all.
That has to go through, but it has to go through the Senate.
Yeah,
and it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So all that aside, I don't want one side having complete dominant control over another.
That's what we were saying last week.
Yeah, it's a issue.
Hey, listen, they're not calling us and asking us.
No one's called me and said, "Hey, Sandy, what do you think?"
Yeah, but that's. I mean, for our 2 cents, and the truth is that's what it needs to be.
Because here, you remember me telling you about the guy who called me and said, "I'm finding somebody to run against Matthew Shepard." I'm like, save your money.
Yeah.
But this is a guy who lives in a sphere of nothing but surrounded by Tea Partiers. That's what you get. All of a sudden, Matthew's the problem.
Not Matthew, but that guy.
Well, no, I'm saying, but this guy, he looks up and he says, Matthew's the problem.
So, yeah, that's what I mean.
Come on.
Yeah.
Now, do I wish that Matthew was a little anti-establishment more than he is? Of course. But you know what? I also trust Matthew. So if he's at a point where he says, no, I'm going along with this, or I'm endorsing this, or I'm pushing this agenda, there's a reason. And I trust his reason. He's never given me a reason not to. He's never given me a reason not to trust his judgment. And it's the same thing goes on locally with city council. Oh, they're all crooks. They're all taking money. It's all corruption. They're all taking kickbacks. I'm sorry. You mean to tell me Judy Ward? Judy Ward's taking a kickback. Is that what you're saying?
Uh,
Of all the people on the city council,
Yeah.
Jill Wineski?
Yeah.
You mean to tell me you think Jill Wineski's taking kickbacks? I can tell you that's not true. I went to Jill's house when her husband were there to drop her off some stuff one day. This woman came out of her attic. She and her husband are doing renovations. They're up in the attic doing their own renovations, and she is covered in insulation and dirt and dust and all this. And she's like, I'm so sorry. I said, it's fine. Now, somebody who's getting all this supposed money on the back end, wouldn't she be able to hire that done?
Yeah.
Judy Ward, who is the epitome of class and grace, who you can't, well, there is someone who called her a racist, and that'll come up soon. But this woman has dedicated her entire life to educating the uneducated and the poor. And you mean to tell me you think Judy Ward is taking kickback? Buddy McAdams?
Buddy doesn't need a kickback.
I mean, come on. Let's just be honest real quick.
Yeah.
Buddy doesn't. Diane Hammond, you really think these are the people you're saying are taking the kickbacks and the corruption? I don't get it. I just don't. You know what? Maybe I'm the one out of touch. Maybe I'm just missing the big picture.
You just don't see it, maybe.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Hey, if it looks like it and smells like it and feels like it, it is. But we don't
Ignorance
have
is bliss.
This all passes the smell test for us.
For me, it does. Yeah. But anyway,
all right,
we get into that. We could get into that for the next 6 hours.
All right.
That's why you said all right. Yeah, I got you. Well, Boomer, it's been a great show.
Yeah,
even though the audio was crap at the beginning, and that was my fault.
Well, we don't know that. We may have got it. We may have just fixed it. We may have just done that and fixed it.
JW did it. He went over and he did that in front of the computer 2 times, and it was fine.
Yeah, he did Comcast or CapCut or Trapdoor or something. You know, hey.
Did you just say Trapdoor?
Trapdoor. Hey, okay. You're old enough to remember when PCs first came out.
Uh-huh.
You know, everybody in business thought they would just solve everything.
Just do it, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just put it in the computer.
Just put it in there.
Because I had people saying, I said, what do you mean just put it in the computer? What do you mean?
Yeah.
You can't just put it in.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
Well, you know.
Just put it in that computer.
I love how back in the day, but remember hand gestures meant everything.
Yeah.
So, well, you know.
Yeah. Just so the man, he said hand gestures. One more story and then we're through.
Okay.
So manual golf tournament we would have every year. And we would have a supper on a Friday night, and then we would flight ourselves. And it was all on your statement. So the guy that was the not the CEO, but the manager of El Dorado Chemical, LSB now, had some people coming in. And so none of them came on Friday night. And so, you know, we didn't know how to flight them. He'd signed them all up. And so he came in and I said, well, you know who? I said, we don't have y'all flighted. He goes, well, we're just going to play all together. I said, well, that's not how it works. He goes, well, he did that. He said, well, just put it out. He said, no, just put them down right there. Like, us 4 play together. I said, okay, Dick, y'all 4 play together. Well, he could have brought in ringers, but we didn't know that. But it wasn't. But but the fact that he he was the manager, and those guys in upper management would just, make it happen.
Yeah,
just just move it around.
Yeah.
I said, well, I got 3 other guys that need to. He said, well, we're going to play together. Just put that right there. Okay, I'll just do that.
Our youth pastor, when he was brand new, he wanted to hold a golf tournament as a fundraiser for the youth group. And so it's a 4-man scramble, and we signed up. And I remember it was me, Mark Day, Frank Ogden, and I don't remember who the 4th was on our team. And it may have just been us 3, and then somebody would get an extra shot every time. I don't remember. But at one point, senior pastor announces he's going to play with the senior pastor from this church in Camden that's going to come down and play. And I was like, hold on.
Hold the phone.
Dude's a scratch golfer. Yeah, brother, that doesn't matter. I said, oh, it does. It does, pastor. And he's like, no, brother, it doesn't matter. We're just going to play together. And, as pastors, we just get a chance to be ourselves. And, we can say dirty words or smoke cigars. But I don't know what it was he was thinking. I was like, but hold on a second. The 2 of you playing together
Means y'all both get 2 shots.
Y'all both get 2 shots each. And him by himself can beat any 4-man team out here on this tournament.
With 2 shots.
With
a mulligan on every shot.
Yeah, with a mulligan on every shot. And he's like, so finally, senior pastor says, tell you what, we'll take ourselves out of the running. And it's a good thing because I think they beat every team out there by 13 strokes. Because that pastor from that church, dude, was a scratch golfer.
Okay, so if your pastor's a scratch golfer, he's not spending enough time in the Word, is what I'm thinking.
He ain't visiting the sick.
He ain't visiting the sick or the bereaved.
He's over here wanting to buy chandeliers. Nobody knows how to play that thing. Well, we need more light.
He's spending far too much time at the golf course.
Yeah.
That's one of the deacons, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. I know.
Or several of the deacons.
Yeah, it could be several.
Or
of
a
them.
majority of the deacons.
Yeah. Again.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Church and politics. We're in
the 2 things they always say you don't talk about.
Yeah, we do that every week.
You know.
Yeah.
Incidentally, it was brought to my attention that I had said last week, I said when we come back from this break that that Veronica was going to have to answer some hard questions, and one of them was what was her favorite cereal.
Yeah.
And then I never asked her that.
Yeah.
So now we have to have Veronica back so we can ask her what her favorite cereal is.
Huh.
So
can't we just call her up?
Yeah, I could probably just text her and say, hey, by the way, what is your favorite cereal? So I can put that out there.
We'll say it next week, maybe.
She'll be like, if she's smart, and if Veronica is, she's like, I'll tell you next time I'm on.
Yeah. Being as I'm running.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny that people give us a hard time because like, hey, I'm still waiting y'all to finish that story you said you were going to finish and you didn't do it.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that happens.
I had someone call me last week and I said, he said, what's going on? I said, nothing. I said, what are you doing? He goes, well, not watching that podcast anymore. I said, really? Why not? He goes, well, you sit right next to Veronica Creer.
And?
I said, okay. He says, well, you sit next to Veronica Creer. I said, dude, I said, you know, she's running for office and we had her opponent on. Yeah, but why'd you have to have her? I said, because we had her opponent on. Yeah. Well, I just don't agree with her at all. I said,
okay.
That's why she has an opponent.
That's why they make Fords and Chevys. That's one of the greatest lines Boomer ever taught me.
Yeah.
You know, Sandy, that's why they make Fords and Chevys.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't my line. That's an old line, but yeah.
And
the first line was, you can have any color Ford you want as long as it's black. When they first came out, when Henry started making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, listen, there was a city councilman who did the same thing to me. And, you know, yeah, Veronica on there. I said, hey, first of all, whomever I have on my podcast is my business.
It's none you.
And until you see the whole episode, and that's the thing, no one was able to see the whole episode till today.
Okay.
A week later.
You know, and I very seldom watch the whole episode. I'll catch the reels that you do and bits of it. Because I'm here.
Yeah, you're here. You were here for that episode.
I don't have to edit it, like you do. But here's the thing that really gets me, and it's a big problem in our society and among our young people, is that if you don't agree with me, I cannot be around you.
I don't understand that.
You know, you and I are conservative by a fault or by choice or by the way life is brought us up, but we can have somebody on here that totally disagrees with us.
Absolutely.
And hear what they have to say.
I live with people who totally disagree with me.
Me too.
You know, I mean,
you had my daughter on this.
Your daughter started this off. She started off the podcast. Elizabeth, first thing she said, let me get this out here right now. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah,
I'm a Democrat.
Well, I made a
remark.
I made a crack,
but still,
I baited her.
You did, but she got that right out there.
She goes, "Don't get it twisted. I'm a Democrat."
But you know what? Tell me, other than her husband, somebody who loves that child as much as I do.
Yeah,
I have loved that girl forever.
Yes,
and so it's to me, it's just one of those things that I don't agree with you. So what? Mm-hmm. Who cares? When did that become a requirement?
So that's something that's a really it digs deep with me in that we cannot reason together anymore.
I'm afraid though,
and it's
where we've lost, and this is a true concern of mine. Where we have lost in the battle is we have a whole generation of kids coming up who believe that if we don't agree, then you're a fascist or a Nazi or a racist.
And I need to shout you down.
Exactly. There is no
or
room.
shoot you.
Charlie Kirk. There is no room for
disagreement
or engagement even.
Or talking over somebody like I do.
But it's one of the things I was sure to point out with Veronica last week, and that is anything I've ever had to say that was contrary to what Veronica believes, Veronica knew it before anyone else knew it.
Yeah.
Because I went to Veronica, I didn't go to Facebook.
Yeah.
And that's why, somebody was asking me, said, man, are you not concerned about how much crap you've been catching? I said, dude, do you remember topics?
Mm-hmm. Oh, boy, I do.
I was a constant.
Yeah.
I was a constant forum category.
I got raked over in topics too.
You did. And then if it wasn't topics, it was that damn Southwest Arkansas radio forum or board or whatever it was called.
Is there still a topics that doesn't exist anymore?
I don't know. But that forum, that's the group that somebody went on there and made a post one time that I had died in a car wreck. And I had been going to Arkadelphia.
I didn't remember that
day. And I was driving back and my kids saw that. I say it's hard to offend me, and it is very hard, except unless you mess with my kids or my wife.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was offended.
Yeah, that was very offensive.
And I reached out to the webmaster for that forum, and I'm like, that kind of has to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And because again, there's nothing like your 14-year-old daughter coming home and plopping her laptop open, and people are like, I'm sorry about your dad. And she's like, what are you talking about? And they're sending her links to this thing where supposedly I died in a car wreck between Arkadelphia and El Dorado. That's uncalled for. You can hate me. You can hate what I stand for. You can talk about me being fat and ugly and bald or whatever it is you want to talk about. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Yep.
And that's what I say all the time is if you want to take shots at me, take as many as you want. I'm pretty thick-skinned, but leave my kids. This is kind of like the mafia. Wives and kids, they're not part of the game.
Yeah.
Okay,
we got politics. We didn't hit much on religion today.
Not much.
Huh?
We can.
We can, but I'm ready to go home.
Yeah. You said a while ago you were hungry.
I am hungry. That's, eventually after you're hungry, you get hangry.
Yeah.
And I'm on the border, Sandy.
Marsha.
All right, dude.
All right, man. Hey, it's been a great time.
Yeah.
As always.
Yeah.
And that's why we're 60-something episodes in, because it's always fun. That's going to do it for us, for Off the Back Porch, for all of our sponsors, and for you, our viewers. Thank you so much. And for JW and for Elizabeth for being here and helping us out and really kind of
doing this.
Keeping us in line. We thank them too. But have a great weekend. God bless. We'll see you next time on Off the Back Porch.
With a history of being the voices you trust, this is Off the Back Porch.